Chen, pursued by his stepmother's assassins, joined the Huan sect to protect himself. Dual cultivation would make him stronger, and bearing offspring would grant generous rewards. Chen realized that dual cultivation could rapidly boost his cultivation, so why bother with hard training? The Huan sect lacked many things, but never female disciples. In the spirit domain Southern Wasteland Prefecture, inside a grand hall of the Huan sect, you're saying you have the talent to produce offspring with a Xiangrade spirit root. Lu Rian, dressed in blue, crossed her arms, her beautiful face showing a hint of surprise. She looked at the new disciple before her, half believing and half doubting. She had never heard of such a talent. He came to her mysteriously, and she thought he had found some great opportunity, but instead it was about having children. If it weren't for the mention of a Xiangrade spirit root child, Lu Rian would have suspected he was mocking her. Sect leader, am telling the truth, Chen said with a serious expression. He recounted the story he had prepared in advance, making it as plausible as possible as his life depended. The woman before him was a terrifying existence at the divine transformation stage. A single pressure could annihilate him. After listening to Chen's explanation, Lu Rian's gaze toward him grew increasingly strange. I'm not entirely disbelieving what you said. But why must the female disciples be beautiful with slender waists and long legs? You'd better explain yourself, or else. A cold gleam flashed in Lu Rian's eyes. If she discovered that Chen was mocking her, she would make sure he died a miserable death. The Huan sect was best at tormenting men. Ahem. Chen rubbed his nose, feeling the killing intent from Lu Rian, and quickly explained. Sect leader, think about it, the bloodline of ancient inheritance, descendants born with heavenly grace. Female disciples with excellent talent and appearance can undoubtedly pass on these advantages. Sect leader wants the sect to become even more glorious, right? Though he said that in his heart, Chen simply thought that ugly female disciples would be hard to stomach. If Lu Rian arranged an ugly woman for him, it would certainly affect his performance. Beautiful female disciples were much more pleasing to the... That does make some sense. Lu Rian calmed down, nodding thoughtfully, her expression softening slightly. Yet she still harbored doubts about Chen's words. Could someone really guarantee that every child they bore would have a spirit root? Wouldn't that mass-produce cultivators? Lu Rian was intrigued. The Huan sect was once one of the top powers in the Southern Wasteland, but over the millennia the sect's experts had dwindled, the younger generation was lacking, and no exceptional talents had emerged. The sect had declined into a third-rate power. Now it was suppressed by the rival Tianma sect, with conflicts erupting every few days. Before long the Huan sect might be razed to the ground by the Tianma sect, and she, the beautiful sect leader, would become someone's plaything. Lu Rian naturally did not want such a thing to happen. If what Chen said was true, he could undoubtedly help the sect cultivate more disciples with spirit roots, thus reversing the sect. The Huan sect lacked many things, but never female disciples. Why not give it a try? Lu Rian raised an eyebrow, her cool gaze falling on Chen as she spoke calmly. I can give you a chance. My. Chen's eyes lit up. Lu Rian was extremely beautiful, with a fiery figure, her curves especially eye-catching, looking both pure and alluring, every smile captivating. Moreover, she was the sect leader with high cultivation. Any child she bore would surely have excellent talent, perhaps even earth grade or heaven grade spirit roots. I said I would arrange a female disciple for you. Lu Rian's face darkened, she gritted her teeth. If you dare look at me like that again, I'll gouge out you. Thank you for your trust, sect leader. Rest assured, in 10 months, I will give you a satisfactory account. Chen quickly averted his gaze, speaking with conviction. 10 months. Lu Rian was startled, looking at Chen with a changed expression. Could this kid hit the mark on the first try? This secret is only between you and me. You must not tell anyone else in the sect. Not even the deputy sect leader can know a single word. Lu Rian's face was stern, her expression serious, as she looked at Chen. Once the seed was planted, Chen would undoubtedly become a hot commodity, coveted by all factions. Even within the sect, those who wanted to replace her would surely target Chen. Her junior sister, the current deputy sect leader, had always wanted to ally with several elders to replace her. Lu Rian had to keep the secret and control Chen, using him to produce more disciples with spirit roots in the future. This would become her future loyal core, enabling her to firmly control the entire sect. Sect leader, rest assured, I understand. He naturally understood the principle of possessing a treasure invites danger. The fewer people who knew the secret, the safer he would be. Go. Lu Rian waved her hand in satisfaction, a hint of anticipation in her heart. She regarded Chen's secret as her trump card for controlling power and suppressing external enemies. Outside the main hall, Chen looked up at the darkening sky, his heart racing with excitement. Since activating the many children, many blessings system, he had never tried it with a woman. This time he had to be successful. It was not only about the future of the sect, but also about his own life. Chen had been a baby when he transmigrated to this world. Fortunately, he was adopted by the head of the Yi family in Jianye City, raised as a son, and lived a life of luxury until he grew up. But the good times didn't last. Yi Haoshan's wife had an affair with the young master of the Xintian Holy Land, and they conspired to kill Yi Haoyan. They not only seized the Yi family's assets, but also wanted to eradicate the entire Yi clan. Yi Chen escaped only through the sacrifice of a loyal family servant. His sister Yi Qing'er was taken by the Xintian Holy Land. Most of the remaining Yi clan members were dead. Yi Chen wanted to rescue his sister Yi Qing'er, but his cultivation was too weak, and he couldn't even protect himself. Moreover, the Xintian Holy Land was one of the 5 strongest powers in the southern wasteland, with a hegemony stage master sitting in not something an ant like him could shake. Seeking shelter, he had no choice but to join the Hahuan sect. Yi Chen originally wanted to cultivate hard, one day storm the Xintian Holy Land to avenge himself and rescue his sister Yi Qing. Unfortunately, he was only a yellow-grade spirit root, extremely poor talent, and after hard cultivation, he was still at the Qi refining. The realm levels in the spirit domain are Qi refining foundation, establishment, golden core, nascent soul, divine transformation, void refinement, hegemony, great vehicle, tribulation, transcendence, and great emperor. Now the sect's strength was declining day by day. Forget about revenge. In a few years it couldn't even protect him. To become stronger, Yi Chen chose to reveal his secret to sect leader Lu Rian in exchange for a spouse and cultivation resources. If he relied solely on his own charm to attract a partner, it would be too slow. That's why he thought of surrendering himself to the sect and letting the sect assign female disciples to him. As long as he kept sowing and bearing offspring, he could obtain generous system rewards. That way Yi Chen could increase his strength even without cultivating. When Yi Chen returned to his courtyard, he found the door of his room ajar. Had someone been here? He immediately became alert, carefully stepping inside and peering ahead. If anything seemed amiss, he would bolt. Survival came first. My, such a pleasant fragrance. A wisp of sweet scent drifted. It was the unique fragrance of a woman. At that moment, Yi Chen also saw clearly. A woman dressed in a red silk gown was sitting on the edge of her cool, elegant face, illuminated by the candlelight, appeared exceptionally alluring. Her curvaceous figure was barely concealed, enchanting anyone who laid eyes on her. The room's layout had also changed, adorned with many interwoven red drapes that added a touch of festivity. On the table sat 2 large red candles, a wine flask, and cups. Is this a female disciple arranged by Lu Rian? The wedding chamber. She moved this quickly. Yi Chen was somewhat astonished. He had only just returned from Lu Rian, and she had already arranged a female disciple for dual cultivation, even decorating the room. And she had skipped the wedding ceremony, going straight to the bridal chamber. It was clear Lu Rian was also in a hurry. Yi Chen relaxed. As long as it wasn't an assassination, he could handle a female disciple. He stepped into the room, his gaze appraising the disciple. She almost perfectly matched his earlier requirements. Beautiful face, exquisite figure. Long legs, slender waist, 36D. She was undoubtedly a meticulously selected beauty. Lu Rian hadn't deceived him. Moreover, this disciple possessed a profound great spirit root, and was at the early foundation establishment stage with a cultivation level higher than Yi Chen's. In the Hahuan sect, this already qualified her as an inner disciple. Lin Qingxue grew nervous when she saw Yi Chen return. Her face flushed crimson in an instant, and she shyly lowered her head, her fingers tightly gripping the bedsheet beneath her as her heart pounded like a drum. Though terrified, she showed no resistance and did not flee. Lu Rian had sent people to promise her many benefits along with generous rewards for her family, with the simple request that she attend to Yi Chen. For herself and for her family, Lin Qingxue simply couldn't refuse such terms. Even if it meant giving up her body, it was worth it. When she saw Yi Chen's handsome and striking face, she felt a wave of relief, suddenly finding it not so hard to accept. As a disciple of the Hahuan sect, if she encountered a bottleneck in her cultivation, she would eventually need a cauldron for dual cultivation anyway. It was better to give herself now, while still a virgin, and reap generous rewards. Lin Qingxue's face burned red. Seeing that Yi Chen remained motionless, she couldn't help but lift her head, her limpid eyes meeting his, as she spoke in a soft, delicate voice. "Senior brother, should I help you undress?" Yi Chen's mind went blank, and a wave of heat surged through his body. Without further admiration, he pounced forward in a few swift strides. Since the girl was so forward, what was he hesitating for? Forget the nuptial wine, forget building a connection. Seize the moment. Only a fool would pass up such a chance. "Senior brother, I have sword practice tomorrow." Lin Qingxue closed her eyes, her face flushed as she murmured. Her sweet, delicate voice echoed in Yi Chen's ear. Yi Chen. It was like a demon's whisper, shattering what little reason remained. Ding. Congratulations, host, you have received 1 year's worth of cultivation reward. An hour later. Lin Qingxue, with tear stains at the corners of her eyes, curled up in a corner and fell into a deep sleep. Yi Chen, sensing something, suddenly sat up. Crack. A soft sound emanated from his dantian. The next moment, Yi Chen's aura surged violently. Qi refinement, 11th layer. I've broken through. Before he could think further, the spiritual energy in his dantian was still surging against the barrier. Crack! His aura grew even more fierce than before. Chi refinement 12th layer. Yi Chen's heart swelled with immense joy. He hadn't expected the bottleneck that had plagued him for so long to shatter so naturally. And he had broken through 2 minor realms in a row. This undoubtedly gave him hope. He hadn't even fathered offspring yet, and he was already triggering various rewards. How generous would the rewards be if he had a child? Ding. Detected that the host is about to sire offspring. Will you consume 10,000 spirit stones to increase the probability of the child's talent? Upon enhancement, there is a 100% chance of a profound grade spirit root, a 50% chance of an earth grade spirit root, a 10% chance of a heaven grade spirit root, a 1% chance of a divine grade spirit root, a 1 in 10,000 chance of an ancient ultimate grade spirit root. Spirit root grades from low to high are yellow grade, profound grade, earth grade, heaven grade, divine grade, and ancient ultimate. The higher a cultivator's spirit root grade, the more keenly they sense spiritual energy, and the faster they cultivate, determining their future achievements. Yi Chen himself possessed a yellow grade spirit root. With the same time and effort, others could reach the foundation establishment stage while he remained at Chi refinement. Such was the disparity. Without spending spirit stones, the offspring's talent would be a guaranteed profound grade spirit root with no chance of other grades. Yi Chen gazed at the illusory panel before him and unhesitatingly chose to consume the spirit stones. Even if it only resulted in an earth grade spirit root for his child, the 10,000 spirit stones would be worth it, let alone the chance to gamble on the legendary ancient ultimate grade spirit root. Ding. Successfully consumed 10,000 spirit stones. Offspring talent probability has been enhanced. The next moment, Yi Chen sensed the 10,000 spirit stones in his storage ring vanish into thin air. He wasn't upset. After all, they were spirit stones he had swindled from Lu Rian, intended precisely for improving the child's talent. As long as 10 months later Lin Qingxue gave birth to a child with an earth grade spirit root, or even higher, his status in the sect would rise accordingly. Then wouldn't he get whatever he wanted? The sect would continuously supply him with spirit stones to nurture his offspring. As many female disciples as he wanted he could have. He might not even need to ask. Lu Rian would force them on him. Lin Qingxue, sleeping beside him, woke from her dream. She glanced at Yi Chen drowsily and asked wearily, "Senior brother Yi, what are you doing? Aren't you sleeping?" She turned over and looked at Yi Chen with sleepy eyes, her delicate blushing face full of confusion. Under the blanket, her fair skin was fully exposed. Yi Chen glanced down, and the fire he had just extinguished began to stir once more. A sudden idea crossed his mind. What if it were twins? Senior brother Yi. Before she could finish, her words were silenced. Until dawn broke. Yi Chen drifted into a hazy sleep, dreaming of a bountiful harvest, a smile spreading across his face. Mine, it's all mine. Ding. Congratulations to the host for receiving a 1-year cultivation reward. Ding. Congratulations to the host for obtaining a top-grade foundation establishment pill. Ding. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the physique of a mighty man, diamond body, indestructible kidney soul, greatly enhancing the host's physical qualities. The rewards from slumber were being fulfilled. By noon, Yi Chen only awoke when he heard someone calling his name. Senior brother Yi. The sect leader has sent for you. Lin Qingxue sat by the bed, her cheeks flushed, as she gently shook Yi Chen's arm. The sect leader wants me. Yi Chen rubbed his sleepy eyes, his mind still hazy and slow to react. What could Lu Rian want with him? Could she be asking about his progress? But they had only just entered the bridal chamber last night. Even if a child were to be conceived, it would take 10 months. How could there be results so soon? Surely she couldn't doubt his abilities. As Yi Chen stood up from the bed, Lin Qingxue, like a devoted wife, began to help him dress. Inhaling the fragrance that lingered in the air, Yi Chen's heart burned with renewed passion. What a temptress! He would cherish her well when he returned in the evening. Sensing Yi Chen's intense gaze, Lin Qingxue shyly lowered her head, not daring to speak. After washing up and having a simple meal, Yi Chen hurried off to find Lu Rian. Just as he was about to step out of the courtyard, he noticed 2 disciples standing guard outside the gate. Upon inquiry, he learned that Lu Rian had sent them last night to protect him. Though framed as protection, it was also a form of imprisonment, more to keep the secret from others in the sect. While this might arouse curiosity from various factions, it was still far better than Yi Chen being abducted. Yi Chen didn't mind this. He had already anticipated such an outcome from the moment he decided to reveal his secret to Lu Rian. His strength was too weak now, and there were many enemies outside the sect who wanted him dead. He was more than willing to accept the sect's protection. Soon Yi Chen arrived at the grand hall where Lu Rian resided. Disciple pays respects to the sect leader. Yi Chen said respectfully, "You had a hard night last night. Sleeping until just now." Lu Rian approached clad in a flowing white dress. Her proud chest heaved slightly as her gaze fell upon Yi Chen, a peculiar expression on her face. A whole night of battle. This kid had some skill. Hearing this, Chen awkwardly rubbed his nose. It was indeed quite arduous. All for the sect. Lu Rian rolled her eyes at him in exasperation. What all for the sect? Wasn't he the one enjoying himself? Was this rascal trying to act innocent after getting what he wanted? Don't give me that empty talk. I ask you, how did things go? Lu Rian was more concerned about the matter of offspring. Given this kid's talent, surely it was worth knowing if he had succeeded. Though she was somewhat anxious, Lu Rian had no other choice. This concerned whether she could secure her position as the sect leader of the Hahuan sect and prevent the sect from being annexed by external forces. She could not afford any mistakes. Sect leader, rest assured. Everything went smoothly. Chen looked at Lu Rian with a serious expression. He had toiled all night, it was definitely a sure hit. Hearing Chen's words, Lu Rian finally relaxed. I will arrange for more talented female disciples for you. I hope you will not disappoint my expectations. Lu Rian said impassively. Since she had chosen to believe in Chen's talent, she planned to try a few more times. After all, bearing one child every 10 months was too long. Naturally, she hoped for more gains. Of course, Lu Rian also worried that Chen might be deceiving her, so she didn't go all in at once lest he take advantage of the entire sect's female disciples. Female disciples. Chen's heart leaped with joy, and he immediately said excitedly, "Thank you, sect leader. Rest assured, disciple will not let your efforts be in vain." Although Lu Rian didn't specify how many female disciples she would arrange, at least in 10 months, he would have several more offspring. Chen didn't linger. After asking Lu Rian for some spirit stones as operating expenses, he hurried back to his residence. As he entered the courtyard, he noticed that the previously vacant adjacent room had been cleaned and decorated festively. Even Lin Qingxue, who was feeling unwell, was helping out. Chen knew this was Lu Rian's arrangement and wasn't surprised. He walked straight into the room. A pure and charming female disciple sat shyly on the edge of the bed. She wore a red sheer off-shoulder gown, her fair skin swaying before his eyes, adding a touch of allure. The room was filled with a fragrant scent that made one's body feel numb. Senior Brother Yi. Seeing Chen return, Lin Qingxue became flustered and quickly walked out of the room. Qingxue. Chen called out. Lin Qingxue didn't respond, her face reddening as she quickened her pace. As she left the room, she thoughtfully closed the door behind her. Seeing this, Chen shook his head with a wry smile. Turning to look at the radiant female disciple sitting by the bed, he was about to ask if she wanted to eat something first. He had only eaten one meal all day. Senior Brother Yi, I will take good care of you. Lu Mingyao said, her face flushed, looking at Chen with enchanting charm and a coquettish voice. As she spoke, she untied the ribbon of her gown herself. Her proactive demeanor was at odds with her innocent appearance. Chen's words died in his throat. Hungry? Then eat. Without a second word, Chen quickly stepped forward. Lu Mingyao reached out, pulled Chen, and gracefully drew him onto the bed. Just as she was about to make a move, Chen suddenly stopped. Senior Brother, what's wrong? Lu Mingyao asked, puzzled. Could it be that she wasn't alluring enough? She had deliberately worn a sheer red gauze dress. There was no reason for Chen to resist. Chen, however, stood up and looked at her with a sly smile. I prefer parallel parking. Lu Mingyao. Ding. Congratulations to the host for receiving a 1-year cultivation reward. Hearing the prompt in his mind, Chen understood. Just as he thought. This undoubtedly gave him immense motivation. In the adjacent room, Lin Qingxue listened to the commotion next door, her face flushed, fidgeting restlessly on the bed. She wasn't required to serve Chen tonight, yet she felt uneasy. After the intimate encounter last night, Lin Qingxue had surprisingly grown fond of being with Chen. That feeling was soul-stirring and addictive. Lin Qingxue tried to numb her longing for Chen through cultivation. Just as she began to circulate her technique, a crisp sound rang out from her dantian. Crack. In the next instant, spiritual energy surged around her, and her aura became much stronger, like a sudden storm sweeping through. Foundation establishment, middle stage. I actually broke through. Lin Qingxue's mouth fell open in disbelief, her mind going blank. She had only recently succeeded in foundation establishment. With her talent, it would have taken years of arduous cultivation to reach the middle stage. How is this possible? Lin Qingxue struggled to recall recent events, then suddenly froze. Could it be because of Senior Brother Yi? Remembering the madness of the previous night, her face flushed with shyness and embarrassment. She speculated that her breakthrough might be related to sleeping with Chen, but she hadn't used the Hahuan sect's dual cultivation technique during their union. How could she have absorbed his cultivation? Unable to figure it out, Lin Qingxue looked up at the wall separating her room from the next, her face red as she muttered, "It seems I'll have to find the answer from junior sister Lu." In the early morning, a ray of sunlight streamed through the window onto the bedside. Chen awoke from his blissful slumber only to find that Lu Mingyao was no longer by his side. Recalling the wildness of last night, a hint of a smile crept onto his lips. Fortunately, Chen had previously acquired the manly physique and possessed an indestructible kidney spirit, making his physical condition far better than before. Otherwise, he would have exhausted himself from overplowing. Yet Lu Mingyao had left lively and bouncing in the morning. This girl was quite fit too. Just as Yi Chun rose, he sensed a surging torrent of spiritual energy erupting from his dantian. Not good. He recalled the system rewards he had obtained during last night's frenzy. Accumulated, they amounted to 7 or 8 years of cultivation. He was already at the 12th level of qi refining, with only a single barrier separating him from the foundation establishment stage. Yi Chun immediately took out a supreme foundation establishment pill he had obtained earlier from his storage ring and swallowed it. Relying on the pill's power, he began his foundation establishment refining the spiritual energy. Inside a grand hall, Lu Rian gazed at the intelligence passed back by her trusted subordinate, a flicker of astonishment crossing her exquisite face. Is this kid crazy? So reckless. Isn't he afraid of hurting Lu Mingyao to death? He has no idea how to cherish women. Lu Rian couldn't help but wonder if it was too little to only arrange one female disciple for Yi Chun a night. When she saw the remaining content on the note, her expression changed instantly. Lin Qingxue, inner disciple, mystic grade spiritual root, early foundation establishment breakthrough to mid foundation establishment today. Lu Mingyao, inner disciple, mystic grade spiritual root, early foundation establishment breakthrough to mid foundation establishment today. These two seemingly ordinary pieces of information shocked Lu Rian profoundly. If only one female disciple had broken through after cohabiting with Yi Chun, it might have been a mere coincidence. But when two female disciples consecutively broke through after such encounters, it pointed to an inevitable connection. Could it be that simply cohabiting with this kid can greatly boost one's cultivation? Lu Rian frowned slightly, murmuring softly. A thought flashed through her mind. She had been stuck at the peak of divine transformation for many years, unable to advance further. If it were just a coincidence, wouldn't that be letting the kid off too easily? Lu Rian remained hesitant in her heart. She did not act impulsively in a moment of heat. This kid really has a lot of secrets. Earlier, Yi Chun had only said he could guarantee offspring with spiritual roots. He hadn't mentioned other benefits. Lu Rian planned to try with a few more female disciples before making a decision. At that moment, a female disciple rushed in hurriedly. Sect Master. The Vice Sect Master and several elders say they have urgent matters. As her words fell, crisp footsteps sounded outside the hall. Lu Rian's face darkened as she looked up towards the door. She saw a seductive woman wearing a green off-shoulder dress, swaying her willowy waist, stepping in. Behind her followed 5 white-bearded elders, each exuding an aura of overwhelming pressure. Seeing this, Lu Rian's expression turned extremely unpleasant. These people were becoming more and more unruly. Before she even agreed to see them, they barged right in. They completely disregarded her as the sect master. However, this was not the first time such a thing had happened, and Lu Rian chose to tolerate it. She had too few bargaining chips to turn hostile now, unwilling to easily tear the facade. Senior sister, this matter cannot be delayed, so please don't blame us for being disrespectful. Vice Sect Master Jiang Yuyan said with her words carried an apology, but in her heart, she completely disregarded it. When she looked at Lu Rian, there was not a shred of respect for the sect master, only thoughts of one day taking her place. What is it? Lu Rian had long seen through Jiang Yuyan's little schemes, but at this moment, she couldn't be bothered to argue, frowning slightly. These arriving individuals were all supreme elders of the Hahuan sect, usually in seclusion and rarely appearing. Something major must have happened. Senior sister, the young sect master of Xiantian Holy Land, sent someone demanding that we hand over a disciple named Yi Chun. If I recall correctly, this Yi Chun should be the disciple you recently accepted, correct? Jiang Yuyan looked at Lu Rian with a mocking expression, as if waiting to see the joke. At the same time, she handed over a jade slip bearing the mark of the Xiantian Immortal Sect. Xiantian Holy Land. Yi Chun. Lu Rian's face changed slightly, her brows furrowed. Xiantian Holy Land was one of the 5 great holy lands in Nanhuang Prefecture, with countless powerful experts. At its peak, Hahuan sect had been its equal. Now the sect had declined and could not afford to offend Xiantian Holy Land. She took the jade slip and infused a thread of spiritual energy. After a moment, Lu Rian immediately understood the whole story. Yi Chun had actually offended the young sect master of Xiantian Holy Land and was being hunted by them. For a moment, Lu Rian was caught in a dilemma. If it were just an ordinary disciple, handing him over to avoid offending Xiantian Holy Land would be no big deal. But now Yi Chun had revealed his secret talent to her. If the seeding succeeded, it would completely change the Hahuan sect situation, even allowing it to regain its former glory. If she handed Yi Chun over, the Hahuan sect would have no hope for the future. But if she didn't, offending Xiantian Holy Land would likely doom the sect before long. This kid had to pick a fight with none other than Xiantian Holy Land. Although Yi Chun might be lying to her, Lu Rian still wanted to take the gamble, even if it meant offending Xiantian Holy Land. Moreover, if she handed Yi Chun over to his death, it would undoubtedly dishearten the disciples, and her authority as sect master would plummet. Then Jiang Yuyan would surely find an opportunity to replace her, and no one would support her anymore. Lu Rian made up her mind, her cold gaze fixed on Jiang Yuyan as she spoke stubbornly. Isn't Xiantian Holy Land being too overbearing? Yi Chun is now a disciple of our Hahuan sect. They want to take him away with just a word. They treat our Hahuan sect with no respect. Even if our sect's power is not what it once was, we are not a soft persimmon to be squeezed at will. She deliberately turned the conflict into a confrontation between the Hahuan sect and Xiantian Holy Land. Hearing this, the several supreme elders present all changed color, their turbid eyes glinting with sharp light, their auras surging. Treating the Hahuan sect casually was like slapping these elders in the face, wasn't it? They were old, not dead. How could they willingly suffer such humiliation? Jiang Yuyan's face darkened. She had originally wanted to use this matter to suppress Lu Rian, but never expected her to actually stand up against Xiantian Holy Land for a disciple. Senior sister, are you crazy? If we anger Xiantian Holy Land, our Hahuan sect will be finished. He's just a disciple. What harm is there in handing him over? Jiang Yuyan hurriedly tried to persuade. She had no wish to offend Xiantian Holy Land along with her. That would be seeking death. She only wanted to hand Yi Chen over to curry favor with Xiantian Holy Land. Just a disciple. In your eyes, junior sister, are the lives of sect disciples so worthless? Lu Rian snorted coldly. I didn't mean that. Jiang Yuyan's face changed drastically as she hurriedly denied it. If these words were to spread, it would surely chill the hearts of the disciples, who would be willing to follow her, the vice sect master, in the future. Everyone would be worried about being discarded as a pawn by her. She had originally intended to watch Lu Rian make a fool of herself and take the opportunity to scheme against her, but ended up being outmaneuvered. The several supreme elders also calmed down at this moment, turning their gazes toward Lu Rian. It is said that this Yi Chun is merely a disciple with a yellow-grade spiritual root. Why does the sect master care so much about him? One of the elders spoke up to ask. He felt that Lu Rian seemed to place extraordinary importance on this disciple named Yi Chun. Defending the sect's dignity was correct, but offending the powerful Xiantian Holy Land over this was clearly unwise. If the sect were to be destroyed because of this, it would be a loss outweighing the gain. In the elders' hearts, a disciple with a yellow-grade spiritual root was not worth gambling the sect's future. Lu Rian glanced at the several elders before her and said with a serious expression, the sect is declining day by day, surrounded by external enemies already as precarious as a pile of eggs on the verge of falling apart at any moment. If we chill the disciples' hearts at this time, who would still be willing to fight for the sect? Doing so would only push the Hahuan sect into an abyss of eternal doom. The several elders fell silent. What Lu Rian said indeed held some truth. A single yellow-grade spiritual root disciple was nothing, but if 1,000 disciples all left, the sect would collapse like a snowball rolling downhill. But if we offend the Xiantian Holy Land, the Hahuan sect will be destroyed just the same. At worst, we can secretly hand the person over. Can't we just avoid leaking the news? Jiang Yuyan spoke with a grim face. She was worried that offending the Xiantian Holy Land over this matter would bring disaster upon the sect. At that time, she, the vice sect master, would not survive either. She didn't want to die. The several supreme elders showed troubled expressions. Both handing over and not handing over were detrimental to the sect. Lu Rian also saw their hesitation. After pondering for a moment, she turned her gaze to the leading elder with a steady temperament and spoke. Grand Elder, may I have a word with you in private? All right. The leading elder looked at Lu Rian with a puzzled expression, nodded, and agreed. He too was troubled and wanted to hear what Lu Rian had to say. Grand Elder, this way, please. Lu Rian led him toward the side hall, leaving Jiang Yuyan and the several supreme elders behind. What mischief is she up to now? Jiang Yuyan watched Lu Rian and the Grand Elder enter the side hall with a livid face, feeling extremely displeased. What words could not be heard by her, the vice sect master? At the same time, she worried that something unexpected might happen. After all, she still planned to use this opportunity to undermine Lu Rian's authority and eventually replace her. Inside the side hall, Lu Rian cautiously set up a barrier to block sound. The Grand Elder frowned in doubt. Sect Master, what do you wish to say? He sensed that matters were not simple. Otherwise, Lu Rian would not have gone to the trouble of setting up a barrier. Lu Rian then looked at him with a grave expression. Grand Elder, what I am about to say will concern the future rise and fall of the Hahuan sect. I implore the Grand Elder to keep it secret and not mention it to anyone. The Grand Elder hesitated and nodded. I agree. His heart grew even more curious about what Lu Rian was about to tell him. Why was it so mysterious? It was also related to the sect's rise and fall. Seeing that he agreed, Lu Rian no longer concealed it and revealed the secret talent of Yi Chun in full detail. This secret she originally did not want anyone to know, but now to withstand the pressure from the Xiantian Holy Land, she had to tell the Grand Elder, the head of the Supreme Elders, in order to gain his support. Only then could she protect Yi Chun this talent. But she would never let the Vice Sect Master Jiang Yuyan or anyone else know the secret. What did you say? Offspring with spiritual roots. The Grand Elder exclaimed excitedly, his breathing becoming rapid, his eyes burning as he stared at Lu Rian before him. He fully understood what this meant. Even the most ordinary yellow-grade spiritual root was 1 in 100 among mortals, and higher-grade spiritual roots were even rarer. If there could truly be a continuous stream of new disciples with spiritual roots, it would be enough to ensure the Hahuan sect's prosperity and never decline. Once a disciple with exceptional talent appeared, it could completely transform the Hahuan sect, even giving hope of returning to its peak and becoming one of the holy lands of the southern wilderness prefecture. Is this disciple, named Yi Chun, trustworthy? The Grand Elder gradually calmed down, still harboring doubts. This kind of talent sounded incredible and was hard to believe. I believe him, Lu Rian said with a firm expression. She had no retreat left if she could only trust Yi Chun. At the same time, she handed over that love note paper. The Grand Elder took it curiously, lowered his head to read it, then suddenly widened his eyes, gasping in shock. Is this real? One night of dual cultivation, and he broke through a minor realm. This is too unbelievable. He found it hard to believe, but he also knew that Lu Rian would not lie to him about such a matter. On one side was the hostility of the Xiantian Holy Land, and on the other was the hope of returning the sect to its peak. The Grand Elder hesitated with a frown, but quickly made up his mind. Although the Xiantian Holy Land is formidable, we old fellows are not dead, yet we can still hold on. At worst, we'll fight to the death and go down with them. He chose to believe Yi Chun this once. No one could resist the temptation of restoring the sect to its peak, especially the supreme elders who had witnessed the sect's glory and were even more eager to revive it. Although the Hahuan sect's power had declined, and there was a gap in the middle-level disciples, a few old monsters with top-tier combat power still lived. As long as they showed a determination to fight to the death, even the Xiantian Holy Land would be wary. Although the Xiantian Holy Land was vast and teemed with experts, no one would be willing to risk a life-and-death battle with several top-tier powerhouses just to take revenge on a Qi refining stage disciple. Thank you, Grand Elder. Lu Rian breathed a sigh of relief. With his support, even if Vice Sect Master Jiang Yuyan opposed it would be futile. Through this matter, she could also win over the several supreme elders to support her, killing 2 birds with 1 stone. No need to thank me. I hope this disciple named Yi Chun is not lying. Otherwise I will make sure his soul is scattered. The Grand Elder said in a deep voice, a fierce glint flashing in his cloudy eyes. Rest assured, Grand Elder. I will send another female disciple to test it later. Then we will know if it is a coincidence, or if dual cultivation with Yi Chun truly can break through bottlenecks. Lu Rian immediately replied. She already had a plan in mind. 1 was a coincidence, 2 was a coincidence. If the 3rd female disciple also broke through, then it would certainly not be a coincidence. Very well. I will await your news. The Grand Elder nodded, agreeing to the arrangement. The 2 immediately reached an agreement. In the Grand Hall, several supreme elders and vice sect leader Jiang Yuyan grew increasingly restless. They kept peering at the distant side hall, their hearts brimming with curiosity about the conversation between Lu Rian and the Grand Elder. Jiang Yuyan felt even more uneasy, and indescribable restlessness gnawing at her. Just then the door of the side hall opened, and everyone's gaze instantly turned toward it. Grand Elder. Jiang Yuyan hastily looked at the approaching Grand Elder, trying to extract some information from him. The Grand Elder also turned to her at that moment and said in a firm tone, "Tell the people of Xiantian Holy Land that the Joyous Union Sect has no disciple named Yi Chun. They have the wrong place. If they want to use this excuse to make trouble for the Joyous Union Sect, we old bones are not dead yet and are ready for a challenge." Jiang Yuyan was dumbfounded. She stared at the Grand Elder in disbelief, unable to fathom how he had changed his stance. Earlier when they came, he had vowed to force Lu Rian to hand over Yi Chun. This change of attitude was far too abrupt, wasn't it? What exactly happened? Grand Elder, are we really going to make an enemy of Xiantian Holy? Jiang Yuyan said urgently. Just go and reply to them as I told you, and don't ask any more questions. The Grand Elder said coldly. He raised his head and glanced at the several supreme elders present. Let's go back. He turned and strode out the door without looking back. The several supreme elders followed without any hesitation. Although they didn't understand why, they all deferred to the Grand Elder and obeyed his decision. Grand Elder. Second Elder. Don't leave. Jiang Yuyan was completely bewildered, never expecting that all the supreme elders would switch sides. Watching them leave, the Grand Hall now held only her and Lu Rian, a terrifying silence descending. Lu Rian, what exactly did you say to the Grand Elder? How could he make such an impulsive decision? Jiang Yuyan turned back and glared at Lu Rian accusingly, believing that the woman had fed the Grand Elder some magical potion. Who gave you the right to call me Lu Rian? You're getting more and more unruly. After all, I am the sect leader of the Joyous Union Sect. How dare you meddle here? Lu Rian sneered and retorted, showing no indulgence toward her. Now that the supreme elders were no longer there to back her up, Lu Rian was not afraid of her. You? Jiang Yuyan was furious half to death, but constrained by their status and strength, she dared not confront Lu Rian. Just you wait. If you offend Xiantian Holy Land, you will regret it. Jiang Yuyan left those harsh words and turned away in fury. She was determined to find out what was really going on. Lu Rian's expression instantly darkened. She looked up at Jiang Yuyan's retreating figure, a cold glint flashing in her eyes. Her junior sister's ambition was growing ever greater. It seemed she needed to speed things up. In the side room of the small courtyard, crack, accompanied by a crisp sound, spiritual energy from all around began to surge wildly into Yi Chen's body. Like a bottomless pit, it voraciously devoured the Chen. At this moment, his entire aura was also skyrocketing. Foundation establishment, initial stage. I have broken through. Yi Chen opened his eyes and shouted in joy. He had been stuck at the Qi refining stage for a long time, yet after just 2 nights of dual cultivation, he had successfully achieved foundation establishment. This undoubtedly gave Yi Chen a glimmer of hope for revenge. At this rate of cultivation, it wouldn't be long before he could go to Xiantian Holy Land to rescue his sister Yi Qing. Iya. The door was pushed open. Lin Qingxue and Lu Mingyao heard the commotion and ran in. Seeing that Yi Chen was safe, the two of them finally relaxed their tense expressions, easing considerably. Lu Rian had personally instructed them to take good care of Yi Chen, that there must be no mishap. If even a single hair of Yi Chen's was harmed, Lu Rian might take senior brother Yi Yu have broken through to the foundation establishment stage. Lin Qingxue and Lu Mingyao both noticed Yi Chen's sudden surge in cultivation level and couldn't help exclaiming. Breaking through from Qi refining to foundation establishment was no easy feat. They themselves had to endure great hardship to break that barrier. Yi Chen had only broken through to the 12th layer of Qi refining yesterday, and now he had already reached foundation establishment. Truly unbelievable. Yes, indeed. Earlier spiritual power surged within me, so I took the opportunity to establish my foundation. Yi Chen said with a smile, offering no further explanation. At that moment, Lin Qingxue seemed to think of something, a glimmer of light flashing in her eyes. Perhaps her speculation from last night was true. If she engaged in dual cultivation with Yi Chen, she could advance her cultivation. Beside her, Lu Mingyao was the best example. She had also broken through to foundation establishment middle stage this morning. Could the sect leader's intention in sending them to attend to Yi Chen actually be to give them an opportunity to improve their cultivation? Senior brother Yi, you must be hungry, right? I'll go prepare some food. Lin Qingxue said to Yi Chen with a caring expression, then walked out with a bright smile. She thought to herself that only with a full stomach could one have the strength to work. Senior brother Yi, I'll go help. Lu Mingyao had just experienced the madness of last night. Despite her outgoing personality, facing Yi Chen alone, now she blushed deeply, and after speaking fled from the room, as if escaping. After all, last night had been her first time. Moreover, many of Yi Chen's techniques in bed last night were ones she had never heard of. Recalling those moves, she felt deeply embarrassed. Who would have thought senior brother Yi was this kind of person? Still shy. Last night you were not like this. Yi Chen looked at Lu Mingyao's retreating figure and shook his head with a wry smile. That girl had been quite forward last night. After he dressed and washed, Lin Qingxue and Lu Mingyao entered carrying steaming hot dishes, setting a table full of delicacies. These were also arranged by Lu Rian to ensure Yi Chen's daily needs were met and his body wouldn't be depleted. After eating and drinking to satisfaction, Yi Chen raised his head and met Lin Qingxue's watery eyes like a deep lake gradually rippling. This little girl was clearly stirred with spring feelings. Thinking of how he had spent last night with Lu Mingyao and neglected Lin Qingxue, Yi Chen now wanted to make it up to her. He couldn't afford to favor one over the other. Qingxue Mingyao, your senior brother has a few new techniques I'd like to discuss with both of you. Yi Chen said with a sly smile, looking at them. What? Techniques? Lu Mingyao was taken aback at first, but when she saw Lin Qingxue's affectionate expression beside her, she instantly understood what was going on. Her face flushed red in an instant. This was no ordinary technique. She was still aching from before. Senior, I won't learn for now. They'll digest the techniques I learned last night. You and Sister Lin can talk, he'll go out for a walk. Lu Mingyao quickly waved her hands, blushing as she stood up and fled out of the room. She couldn't take any more, another round would be the death of her. She also wanted to leave Yi Chen and Lin Qingxue some alone time, and it would let Lin Qingxue help reduce the heat. Inside the room, Yi Chen chuckled as he looked at Lin Qingxue, whose cheeks had flushed crimson. Then shall we head to the bed and discuss life? Meeting Yi Chen's fervent gaze, Lin Qingxue shyly nodded and replied softly, She was still somewhat bashful, her face as red as a ripe apple. Lin Qingxue was not as open as Lu Mingyao. She always blushed in front of Yi Chen, her heart torn between longing and shyness. Let's go. Yi Chen said impatiently, taking hold of Lin Qingxue's fair and tender hand, leading her toward the bed. He had far too much life to discuss, starting from the origin of mankind. Ding. Congratulations, host, for receiving 1 year of cultivation reward. Outside the courtyard, Lu Mingyao, who had intended to cultivate, seemed to sense something and suddenly blushed, feeling a bit flustered. Even though she was naturally bold and unrestrained, she felt shy at this moment. She quickly hurried away from the courtyard, afraid she might not be able to resist. The familiar sounds were far too enticing. This was a moment for Yi Chun and Lin Qingxue to be alone, so she could only try to restrain her emotions. Lu Mingyao murmured to herself, her face still red. It seems Sister Lin didn't sleep last night either. Thinking about it, she felt guilty for affecting her. Just as she stepped out of the courtyard, she came face to face with an elegant female disciple approaching. She wore a red silk gown embroidered with golden threads, standing gracefully with a slender figure. Her delicate face bore an ethereal, otherworldly temperament, like a celestial maiden. Lu Mingyao looked at the female disciple before her, whose appearance and figure were no less than her own, and a flash of admiration crossed her eyes. At the same time, she recognized the other's identity. Su Nianwan. She was the personal disciple of sect master Lu Rian, possessing an earth-grade spirit root and exceptional talent. Already at the peak of foundation establishment at a young age, she was one of the sect's most promising prodigies. Although Lu Mingyao, Lin Qingxue, and Su Nianwan were all disciples under Lu Rian, Su Nianwan held a higher status in comparison. Senior Sister Su, why are you here? Lu Mingyao greeted curiously. Su Nianwan stopped, glanced at Lu Mingyao, and bit her lip before saying, "The sect master sent me." Sect master. Lu Mingyao instantly understood what was going on and felt a jolt of surprise. Sect master actually sent her own personal disciple to warm his bed. It seems senior brother Yes' identity was far from ordinary. Otherwise, how could a yellow-grade spirit root disciple be worthy of dual cultivation with an earth-grade spirit root personal disciple? This clearly showed how much Lu Rian valued Yi Chun. Is senior brother Yi inside? Su Nianwan's face flushed, biting her lip as she asked shyly. Recalling Lu Rian's instructions earlier, she blushed involuntarily. She had joined the Joyful Union Sect, but had never dual cultivated with a man. She was still averse. Matters of intimate relations between a man and a woman inevitably made her shy. He's inside. Lu Mingyao looked back hesitantly and explained. Senior brother Yi is in the room, but it's not convenient at the moment. Not convenient? Why? Just as Su Nianwan was about to press further, she suddenly froze. Her gaze immediately turned toward the courtyard, as if she understood something. Her face flushed deeply, and she became flustered, wanting to speak, but stopping. She instantly realized what Lu Mingyao meant by not convenient. It really wasn't convenient now. She couldn't very well go in and watch. Then, they'll wait here, Su Nianwan said awkwardly. She had been ordered to come for dual cultivation, and though she would eventually have to face this, her mind was still in turmoil. Lu Mingyao noticed Su Nianwan's awkwardness and hesitantly made a suggestion. Senior Sister Su, why don't you wait in the side room first? While you're at it, you can arrange the bridal chamber a bit. Tonight you and senior brother Yi can consummate the marriage. She had gone through the same arrangement yesterday and could now share her experience as someone who had been through it. Consummate the marriage. Su Nianwan's face grew even redder, blooming like a delicate flower. After a brief hesitation, she nodded. Then ill trouble Junior Sister Lu. Led by Lu Mingyao, the two walked into the courtyard one after the other. As they walked, Su Nianwan's cheeks turned red, and within moments the blush spread to her ears. She felt a sense of alarm. Stealing a glance at Lu Mingyao leading the way, seeing her expression unchanged, she said nothing. But she felt so embarrassed. Should the walls be reinforced a bit more? Soon they entered an empty room and began to arrange things. In the adjacent room, gradually silence fell. Senior brother. It seems someone has come into the courtyard. Lin Qingxue curled up weakly in the corner, her voice soft and feeble. Her hearing was sharp, perhaps from extreme tension, and she could detect even the faintest footsteps. Thinking of her own indulgence just now, Lin Qingxue felt a wave of shame. How embarrassing was that? How could she face anyone else? It should be a disciple arranged by the sect master. Yi Chun had also sensed the presence of an outsider, but paid it no mind. Now the only people who could enter this courtyard were the female disciples Lu Rian had arranged for him. No one else could get in. Sooner or later they would all be his women. Why should he hold back? Sect master. Hearing this, Lin Qingxue immediately understood what was happening. Lu Rian had arranged another woman for Yi Chun. One a day, wasn't that too frequent? Lin Qingxue felt a pang of jealousy. If this continued, more and more sisters would come to share Yi Chun with her, making it difficult to have time alone together. Thinking of this, Lin Qingxue couldn't help but hug Yi Chun tightly, leaning against his chest to feel his heartbeat. The warm touch stirred ripples of emotion in both their hearts. Yi Chun's emotions, which had just cooled down, began to stir again, like embers reignited by fuel, bursting into blazing flames once more. Senior brother, you need to take care of your health. Lin Qingxue sensed the danger and blushed, reminding him. Her sweet voice lingered by Yi Chen's ear like a cat scratching at his heart, stirring his restless soul. Don't worry, I'm in great shape, Yi Chen said confidently. The next moment his reason was completely engulfed by the rising flames. Ding! Congratulations, host, for obtaining the immortal-grade magic artifact Moonlight Mirror. Inject a strand of spiritual energy to activate. Can withstand a full-force attack from a deity transformation stage powerhouse. Artifact grades are Mortal Treasure Spirit, Immortal Divine Emperor. Among them, immortal-grade artifacts are already the limit for most cultivators. Divine and Emperor-grade divine weapons exist only in legends. Not even Lu Rian nor the Supreme Elders of the Joyful Union Sect possess a single one. An immortal-grade artifact would drive countless powerhouses in the southern wasteland state to madness. Yi Chen watched the fleeting reward notification, his emotions surging even more. Good skills. He must learn them to gain more rewards. With the immortal-grade artifact, the Bright Moon Mirror, Yi Chen undoubtedly gained an additional means of survival. Previously, he had only received cultivation rewards. Finally, he managed to obtain an immortal-grade artifact. Although the probability was a bit low, Yi Chen firmly believed in the principle of more effort yielding more reward. As the quantity increased, the probability would naturally rise as well. This undoubtedly ignited Yi Chen's fighting spirit. In the courtyard side room, after the efforts of Lu Mingyao and a few maids, another bridal chamber was prepared. However, the battle in the adjacent room remained fierce. Lu Mingyao and Su Nianwan exchanged a glance. Their faces flushed red, both too embarrassed to know how to act. A brief silence fell over the room. Su Nianwan hesitated, then spoke first. Tonight's bridal chamber might not be needed. Yi Chen's energy was all spent on Lin Qingxue. He was probably exhausted by evening. How could he still consummate the marriage? She felt she had come at a bad time and should have waited a day. Probably not right. Senior brother, yes, physique is quite impressive. Lu Mingyao blushed as she helped explain. Hearing this, Su Nianwan's face turned even redder. Her mind could not help but wander. An hour later, as dusk fell, the commotion in the courtyard gradually subsided. Lin Qingxue fell into a deep sleep with tear stains at the corners of her eyes. The door opened, and Yi Chen walked out while leaning against the wall, his face slightly pale and his entire body drenched in sweat. What a little enchantress. Yi Chen sighed. Fortunately, the macho physique supported his body, or else he would have collapsed long ago. Though utterly exhausted, Yi Chen still reveled in it. It was not merely physical and spiritual pleasure, it also brought him considerable benefit. In addition to the immortal-grade defensive artifact he had received earlier, there were also cultivation rewards accumulated over several years. At this moment, he vaguely felt that his realm had reached a bottleneck and was about to break through. He had never cultivated so fast. Li Xiaoyang Zhang Shuyu, you shameless pair, just wait. The blood debt of the Yi family, I will make you pay in blood. Yi Chen muttered viciously to himself, a cold glint flashing in his eyes. Li Xiaoyang was the young master of the Xiantian sacred land, a frivolous son relying on his sect leader father's power. While traveling in Yi City, he set his sights on Zhang Shuyu, the beautiful wife of Yi family patriarch Yi Haoyan. Zhang Shuyu was a fickle woman by nature. Upon learning Li Xiaoyang's identity, she willingly threw herself into his arms. The two not only got involved, but also murdered Yi Haoyan and the Yi clan members, completely seizing the Yi family's assets. Li Xiaoyang naturally had no interest in the Yi family's wealth. He merely treated it as a gift for his little mistress Zhang Shuyu. So, he ordered his attending elders to slaughter without mercy. Yi Chen would never forget that night of bloodshed and carnage where the Yi clan members were brutally massacred. Whenever he recalled the scenes of his kin dying tragically and his sister, Yi Qinger, being taken away, his heart burned with overwhelming rage and murderous intent. He wished he could tear apart that shameless pair who had destroyed the entire Yi family. In the past, he had no talent and weak cultivation. Rage was futile. But now he possessed the many children, many blessings system. Having offspring would grant generous rewards, and each seeding would also increase. This undoubtedly gave Yi Chen hope for revenge. As long as he worked diligently enough, he would soon have the strength to kill his enemies. Li Xiaoyang is at the early golden core stage. The attending elders around him are all at the nascent soul realm. As long as I break through to nascent soul, I can go and take revenge rescuing Qing'e. Yi Chen already had a plan in mind. Just then Lu Mingyao walked out of the adjacent room. Seeing Yi Chen walking while leaning against the wall, she quickly hurried over. She looked him up and down with concern. Senior brother, are you alright? Yi Chen waved his hand. I'm fine. He'll recover after a short rest. He had just been drained of energy, but after resting, he could regain his vigor. The macho physique allowed Yi Chen to recover quickly. Really? Lu Mingyao was skeptical. After all, Yi Chen had just come out of the room, barely able to walk without support. Could he really recover in it? Of course. Yi Chen's voice suddenly rose several pitches. Who doubts me? A man cannot say he can't. Seeing Yi Chen's earnest expression, Lu Mingyao hesitated and nodded. Recalling Yi Chen's frequent study of new techniques, she believed his words. Senior brother, yes, body is truly amazing. Senior brother, the sect leader, has sent another female disciple. Her name is Su Nianwan, and she's in the room next door. Senior brother, you should sleep in senior sister Su's room tonight. Lu Mingyao looked up at Yi Chun and spoke. Although she also had thoughts of dual cultivation, it was Su Nianwan's wedding night, and Lu Mingyao would not interfere. Su Nianwan. Yi Chun raised an eyebrow, glanced at the adjacent room, then turned back and replied, I understand. He thought to himself that Lu Ruyan was truly generous. Such a good sect leader was hard to find even with a lantern. At the same time, he was grateful that he had obtained the macho physique, otherwise his body would have been drained long ago. Senior brother, you must be hungry. Let me prepare some food for you first. Lu Mingyao said considerately. Seeing Yi Chen's tired and weak state, he was certainly famished. All right. Yi Chen's heart felt warm. After Lu Mingyao left, he looked back at Lin Qingxue sleeping soundly on the bed and considerately closed the door behind him. She probably would not wake up tonight. She would sleep through until the next day. Let her rest well. Yi Chen paused for a moment, regained a bit of strength, and turned toward the adjacent room. He believed that the female disciple carefully chosen by Lu Ruyan must have top-tier figure and appearance. She would not cut corners on such matters. Besides, the Joyful Union Sect had no shortage of female disciples. At this moment, Yi Chun was filled with curiosity about this disciple named Su Nianwan. What kind of personality would this female disciple have? Passionate and bold, or pure and shy, or perhaps in a uniform seduction? A few steps later, Yi Chun stood at the door of the room. Through the open door, he saw Su Nianwan sitting on the bed in red bridal attire. Her enchanting figure was adorned with a red silk and gold thread embroidered dress exuding temptation from head to toe. The loose chest-high long gown revealed fair skin that was exceptionally captivating. Her stunning face was fair with a rosy glow so tender that it seemed you could pinch water out of it. Her pure and elegant temperament was laced with a hint of coquettishness, both innocent and alluring. Every smile and expression seemed to captivate one's soul. It was a beauty different from Lin Qingxue and Lu Mingyao. In terms of figure and appearance, she was no less than the former. Yi Chen could not help but take a few more glances, and as if possessed, he walked into the room. Su Nianwan was still a little nervous. Hearing the footsteps in the corridor outside, she knew it was Yi Chen coming. As she felt a burning gaze upon her, she couldn't help but look up. Their eyes met. Su Nianwan's heart fluttered like a startled deer, and her face turned crimson in an instant. Yi Chen's handsome and dashing appearance was etched into her mind, forming her first impression of him. This senior brother Yi was elegant and handsome, truly a man of striking appearance. It wouldn't be a loss to engage in dual cultivation with such a beautiful man. Thinking about what was to happen tonight, Su Nianwan lowered her head shyly, her fingers twisting in nervousness. Senior brother Yi had just shared clouds and rain with junior sister Lin. Surely, he wouldn't have the energy to enter the bridal chamber tonight, right? As she thought this, a hint of disappointment crept into Su Nianwan's heart. The loud cries that had come from the next room earlier had already set her heart aflutter, filling her with curiosity and anticipation for the art of dual cultivation. Yi. Senior brother Yi. The sect leader sent me to serve you. Su Nianwan bit her lip gently, her face red, as she took the initiative to explain her purpose to Yi Chun. Yi Chun stepped forward step by step, standing before the bed looking down at the shy Su Nianwan. He raised an eyebrow with a mischievous grin and couldn't help but tease. Did the sect leader tell you how to serve me? No. No. Su Nianwan's cheeks reddened to the point of bleeding. The sect leader only said to follow senior brother Yes arrangements. Follow yours. Meaning whatever I tell you to do, you do it. Yi Chun continued his teasing, his gaze roaming over her as he leaned closer. He reached out and lifted Su Nianwan's chin with his finger to get a better look at her enchanting face. Yes. Whatever senior brother asks me to do, he'll do it. Su Nianwan's body trembled slightly as she felt the warmth of his fingertips. Her cheeks burned, but she did not pull away. Her bright eyes involuntarily looked toward Yi Chun, who was so close, stirring ripples in her heart. The atmosphere grew increasingly intimate. They gazed at each other for a few seconds. Su Nianwan felt hot and restless, her eyes gradually growing hazy, and her body went limp. Senior brother, take me. Her warm breath brushed against Yi Chen's face like a demon's whisper that made the blood surge. Yi Chun was in the prime of his youth. How could he resist such temptation? A delicate beauty sat before him with a stunning 36D figure, her chest-high red silk gown with gold threads and irresistible allure. Even Yi Chun, who had just finished his battle in the next room moments ago, felt his blood boil again. Senior brother will cherish you well. Yi Chun hesitated no longer and immediately sounded the charge. He was determined to conquer the Su Nianwan before him. Ding. Congratulations to the host for obtaining 2 years of cultivation reward. With a shred of rationality remaining, Yi Chun amidst the battle also noticed the system prompt flashing through his mind. A hint of surprise arose in his heart. Previously, each time he cultivated, the reward was only 1 year of cultivation, but this time, why was that? Yi Chun couldn't help but look at Su Nianwan. Could it be because the dual cultivation partner had a different type of spirit root? Su Nianwan was also at the foundation establishment stage. What set her apart from Lin Qingxue and Lu Mingyao was that she possessed an earth-grade spirit root. Even within the Hahuan sect, this was an extremely rare prodigy. When Yi Chun had sensed her spirit root grade earlier, he was also greatly astonished. He had never imagined that Lu Ruyan would be so generous as to send a disciple with an earth-grade spirit root to dual cultivate with him. Such an excellent opportunity for improvement, Yi Chun naturally would not let it slip. In the courtyard, Lu Mingyao was leading several maids carrying dishes as they entered from outside. Before she even got close to the house, she suddenly stopped, her face instantly turning crimson. She immediately understood what was happening and did not continue forward so as not to disturb Yi Chen's activities. Hasn't senior brother just finished practicing with Sister Lin? How does he still have the energy to be with senior sister Su? Is he trying to kill himself? Lu Mingyao blushed and muttered quietly. She was also worried that Yi Chen's body might not be able to handle it. He had barely any time to rest. After hesitating for a moment, Lu Mingyao waved her hand at the maids behind her. All of you leave. She knew that Yi Chen definitely wouldn't have time to eat now. By the time he finished practicing the art of union with Su Nianwan, it would probably be late at night, or maybe even early the next morning. The food would have long gone cold. The maids, understanding the situation, left with the dishes. Lu Mingyao originally wanted to return to her room to escape the noise, but Lin Qingxue, who had just finished her own Rain in Clouds, was still sleeping there. So she had no choice but to go to Lin Qingxue's. Even after closing the door, Lu Mingyao could not escape the commotion. She felt hot and restless, longing to join the battle. Senior brother's body should be able to handle it, right? An hour later, Yi Chen leaned against the bed, breathing heavily, a trace of fatigue in his mind. Su Nianwan, now well-trained, curled up beside him, already fast asleep. She was utterly exhausted. Ding. Congratulations to the host for a direct hit. Would you like to consume 50,000 spirit stones to increase the probability of your offspring's talent? After enhancement, there is a 100 chance of Earth-grade spirit root, a 20 chance of Heaven-grade spirit root, a 4 chance of Divine-grade spirit root, a 0.02 chance of Ancient Supreme Spirit root. Yi Chen's eyes lit up as he saw the system prompt, instantly perking up. This time the number of spirit stones required was greater, but the probability of offspring obtaining high-grade spirit roots had also increased significantly, twice as much as before. And after this enhancement, the child he had with Su Nianwan would be 100 guaranteed to have an Earth-grade spirit root. This was already incredibly powerful. It meant that any child they had would be, if mass-produced, it would be enough to build a Holy Land power. And there was even a higher chance of giving birth to children with Heaven-grade or Divine-grade spirit roots. Yes, consume the spirit stones. Yi Chun unhesitatingly chose to spend the spirit stones to boost the spirit root probability of his offspring. Ding. Successfully deducted 50,000 spirit stones. Congratulations to the host for successfully enhancing your offspring's spirit root talent. The next moment, all the spirit stones Yi Chun had recently acquired from his storage ring vanished without a trace. But he felt no regret at all at that moment. Instead, he was filled with anticipation, eagerly awaiting the birth of his child with Su Nianwan. After all, Lu Ruyan's initial expectation for Yi Chun was merely that he could produce offspring with any spirit root at all. Now even the worst case was an Earth-grade spirit root. If Lu Ruyan were to learn that female disciples who dual cultivated with Yi Chun could give birth to children with Earth-grade spirit roots, she would definitely arrange hundreds or even thousands of female disciples for him without hesitation. Then it would no longer be 10 times a night, but a round-the-clock relay of labor. He would be busier than a production team's donkey. Su Nianwan, stirred from her slumber by the sound, slowly woke up. Opening her hazy eyes, she looked at Yi Chun beside her and muttered softly. Senior brother, who are you talking to? What spirit stones? In this room, there were only her and Yi Chun. Su Nianwan vaguely heard some sounds and felt puzzled. Could senior brother be talking to himself? No one. You must have misheard. Yi Chun casually brushed it off. This was something he couldn't explain. Looking down, his gaze fell on Su Nianwan's pure and lovely face. The flames that had just been extinguished were once again doused with fuel, instantly surging into blazing. The blood throughout his body stirred with restlessness. Senior brother. Su Nianwan's face instantly flushed crimson. Ding. Congratulations to the host for obtaining a 2-year cultivation reward. A cold, prompt tone rang out. This undoubtedly confirmed Yi Chen's previous guess: the higher the grade of a woman's spiritual root, the greater the reward. When he was with Lin Qingxue and Lu Mingyao before, he had never received a 2-year cultivation reward at once. Only with Su Nianwan did he gain such a harvest. If I were to dual cultivate with a woman possessing a Heaven-grade or even Divine-grade spiritual root, wouldn't I break through a minor realm with each dual cultivation? This discovery filled Yi Chun with ecstasy. He had previously worried that once his realm became higher, increasing cultivation by 1 year at a time would be too slow. Now it seemed that as long as there were suitable female disciples for dual cultivation, the problem could be easily solved. Chen involuntarily thought of the sect master Lu Ruyan. What grade of spiritual root did she have? One night of blossoms many times over. In the adjacent chamber, Lu Mengyao was completely sleepless. Even though there was a room between them, she could still hear everything clearly. The sensation echoing in her ears was as if she were sleeping right beside them. She even felt as if she were there herself. How could Lu Mengyao have any mind to sleep? She intended to sit in meditation and cultivate, but gave up due to the heat surging through her body, afraid she might fall into demonic possession. Has seen your brother gone mad? Does he want to die? Lu Mengyao exclaimed in shock. This was even more insane than when he dual cultivated with her last night. During this time, Chen had hardly rested at all. Could his body endure it? Now she was worried that Chen's body would collapse from exhaustion. Only when dawn arrived and the courtyard calmed down did Lu Mengyao breathe a sigh of relief and fall into a deep sleep. Ding. Congratulations to the host for obtaining a 2-year cultivation reward. Ding. Congratulations to the host for obtaining a bottle of Tianyuan pill strengthens cultivation below the nascent soul stage. Ding. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the life replenishment pill restores the body to peak condition within 3 seconds. Ding. Congratulations to the host for obtaining an avatar talisman creates an avatar with half the host's cultivation controllable via spiritual. Chen was already completely exhausted. Listening to the string of reward notifications, he felt that all his efforts were worthwhile. Let it be tiring or as long as he could improve his strength, it was fine. This time not only did he obtain cultivation rewards, but he also received many unexpected pills and talismans. This filled Chen with excitement. Pills that others had to exhaust every means to refine, he could easily obtain just by hard work. From now on, no matter what he lacked, magical artifacts or talismans, finding a female disciple would solve everything. Chen, immersed in joyful thoughts, slowly closed his eyes and fell asleep. In a refined and elegant great hall, Lu Ruyan, dressed in a flowing pink gown, paced back and forth, her expression somewhat impatient. She had been waiting since early morning for intelligence from her trusted subordinate monitoring the small courtyard, but after a long wait no news came. This made her feel irritated. Why was today's intelligence so late? Could something have happened? She was desperate to know the result of Chen and Su Nianwan's dual cultivation last night. At the same time, she wanted to verify whether her conjecture was correct. The Grand Elder was also waiting for her news. This dual cultivation was related to her position as sect master and even the interests of the entire sect. Lu Ruyan naturally could not remain calm. Just as she was about to send someone to the secret courtyard to investigate, a disciple hurriedly delivered a confidential letter. Finally here, Lu Ruyan immediately dismissed everyone. The great hall was left with only her silent and hula. She opened the letter and read it carefully. The next moment, Lu Ruyan's eyes flew wide open and her delicate body trembled involuntarily. The content of the letter shocked her. Lin Qingxue mid foundation establishment cultivation after dual cultivating with Chen yesterday broke through to peak foundation establishment this morning. Su Nianwan peak foundation establishment cultivation after dual cultivating with Chen last night broke through to golden core stage this morning. This is actually true. I never imagined that brat had such an ability. Lu Ruyan looked at the contents of the letter ecstatic. Everything matched her speculation. As long as one dual cultivated with Chen, cultivation would increase and realms would break through. This time it could no longer be a coincidence. She knew she had bet correctly this time. It was right not to hand Chen over to the Xiantian Holy Land, and even offending them was worth it. As long as she had Chen in hand, the Hahuan sect would soon grow strong again. In her excitement, Lu Ruyan even wanted to go and try it with Chen herself. Who wouldn't want to become stronger? She too had encountered a bottleneck, dreaming of advancing her realm. Now that an opportunity was before her, Lu Ruyan gradually became tempted. I hope this brat isn't bluffing. She glanced down at the letter in her hand, and with a thought it ignited instantly, turning to ashes and dissipating. Lu Ruyan formed a hand seal, using her spiritual energy to create a sound-transmitting flying crane. After briefly relaying the contents of the previous letter, she sent it flying away. Outside the hall, a disciple suddenly came to report. Sect Master, Chen requests an audience outside the hall. Lu Ruyan was startled, and without a second thought she said, let him in. At this moment, she had not forgotten the idea that had sprung up earlier. If she dual cultivated with this brat, could she really break through the realm? She had been stuck at the divine transformation stage for decades. No matter how hard she tried, she could not break through to the refining void stage. This had almost become her inner demon. If she could break through to the refining void stage, she would be able to secure her position as sect master at another refining void powerhouse, to the Hahuan sect, and even throw off the oppression of their archrival, the Tianma sect. These were all Lu Ruyan's obsessions. To achieve her goals, she was willing to stop at nothing. Accompanying a disciple in dual cultivation seemed not so unacceptable. The moment this thought sprouted, it seized all of Lu Rian's thoughts. The Hahuan sect was surrounded by clustered peaks shrouded in ethereal mist. In a cave dwelling on the back mountain, an old man with a white beard sat cross-legged in meditation, with thick spiritual energy swirling around him. Each breath was spaced far apart. When still there was no movement at all, like a corpse. At that moment, a flying crane manifested from spiritual energy appeared in the cave dwelling. The meditating old man seemed to sense something and opened his eyes with faint flickering lightning in his gaze. He raised his hand and grasped the flying crane hovering above, pulling it into his palm. The moment he crushed it, Lu Rian's voice sounded in his ear. Personal disciple Lin Xingxue. After dual cultivation, her cultivation broke through from foundation establishment middle stage to foundation establishment peak. Inner sect disciple Su Nianwan. After one night of dual cultivation, broke through from foundation establishment peak to the golden core realm. The white-beard old man's pupils contracted, and his spiritual energy erupted uncontrollably, causing the entire cave dwelling to tremble. This is true. He believed Lu Rian would not joke with him like this. Two more disciples had greatly increased their cultivation after dual cultivating with Chen. Snapping back to reality, the old man restrained his spiritual energy and couldn't help but burst into laughter. Ha ha ha. Heaven blesses my Hahuan sect to have such an extraordinary disciple. Good, truly good. At this moment his heart was so stirred that he wished he could immediately meet this disciple, named Chen, who possessed such extraordinary talent. Yesterday when Lu Rian told him, he had dismissed it as coincidence, but now it all proved true. For the Hahuan sect this was undoubtedly a tremendous opportunity. As long as Chen diligently cultivated, in a short time, he could elevate the overall strength of the Hahuan sect to a higher level. At this moment the old man made up his mind. Even if it meant confronting the Xintian sacred land, he must protect this disciple and allow him not even the slightest harm. Chen was the future of the Hahuan sect. In an exquisitely elegant main hall, disciple Chen pays respects to the sect leader. Chen entered the hall and respectfully saluted Lu Rian before him. Glancing at her graceful and outstanding figure, he thought to himself, truly magnificent. Why have you come to see me? Go ahead, what is it? Lu Rian looked at Chen with surprise and spoke. The earlier confidential letter had reported that Chen had dual cultivated with both Lin Xingxue and Su Nianwan yesterday, continuing late into the night, without rest until dawn ended the battle. This caused Lin Xingxue and Su Nianwan to wake up late today and delayed their breakthroughs. After being so exhausted, shouldn't he be rested? Lu Rian couldn't help but appraise Chen's physique. Was this kid's body really that formidable? There was no sign of depletion at all. Simply incredible. Youth was indeed wonderful. Reporting to the sect leader, this disciple wishes to ask for some more spirit stones. Chen stated the purpose of his visit. Spirit stones. Lu Rian was taken aback, then frowned in displeasure, looking at Chen with suspicion. What exactly do you need so many spirit stones for? Didn't I just give you 50,000 spirit stones? How have you used them up already? With your cultivation level, you can't absorb that much spiritual energy. In the past 2 days, she had given Chen 70,000 spirits. To put it in perspective, an inner sect disciple receives only a few dozen spirit stones per month. The speed at which Chen consumed spirit stones left even Lu Rian astounded. She even wondered if Chen was using the spirit stones to support a secret lover outside. Sect leader, please understand. This disciple needs all the spirit stones for our plan. Absolutely none are hidden away. In 10 months the sect leader will know. Chen spoke confidently. He did not explain the secrets on his person, but his words strongly implied that the spirit stones were used for dual cultivation to produce offspring. And indeed it was true. He could raise his cultivation through dual cultivation with no need to use spirit stones for training. Lu Rian nodded. Though she had not yet seen the fruits of offspring, she had already witnessed the benefits of dual cultivation from 3 female disciples. She also trusted Chen's talent a bit more. Otherwise, she would not have conceived the idea of dual cultivating with Chen to break through her own realm. All right, take these spirit stones. If you need more, come back to me. Lu Rian was not stingy. She raised her hand and tossed a storage pouch containing 100,000 spirit stones. This was a considerable expense, even for Lu Rian, but for the sect's future, as long as the female disciples gave birth to offspring with spiritual roots in 10 months, every sacrifice would be worthwhile. Thank you, sect leader. Chen took the storage pouch filled with spirit stones and expressed his gratitude with a smile. With spirit stones, when he later struck with a single shot at the female disciples, he could greatly increase the probability of offspring obtaining high-grade spiritual roots. Suddenly surprise flickered across Lu Rian's face. Your cultivation. Foundation establishment peak. Her voice rose several pitches. In the quiet hall it sounded quite abrupt. Her erect peaks trembled. Lu Rian had not noticed earlier, but now the way she looked at Chen changed. Just yesterday, Chen had successfully established his foundation, and in a single day, he had broken through 2 realms to reach foundation establishment peak. This struck Lu Rian as unbelievable. Yi Chen's improvement was even faster than the female disciples who dual cultivated with him. And he was merely a disciple with a yellow-grade spiritual root, the poorest of talents, yet his cultivation speed rivaled that of geniuses with supreme-grade spiritual roots. Lu Rian immediately realized that Yi Chen also benefited from dual cultivation. Not only could the female disciples rapidly raise their cultivation, but Yi Chen could as well, and even gain more. This kid indeed had secrets. Thank you for your concern, sect leader. This disciple just happened to break through 2 realms. Yi Chen explained calmly, neither servile nor arrogant, as if it were the result of hard work and accumulated effort. But Lu Rian knew how easily he raised his cultivation. Just go to bed and dual cultivate. What's so difficult about that? The only difficulty might be whether the body could handle it. More work brings more gain. The more you do, the more you get. Lu Rian scrutinized Yi Chen, curiosity stirring within her. Just how formidable was this kid in bed? According to the letter, he seemed able to go on for an entire day. Would he wear someone out to death? It was certain that this kid had no idea how to show tenderness. Sect leader, if you have no further instructions, this disciple will take his leave now. Yi Chen bowed. A flicker of doubt crossed his mind. He felt that Lu Rian's gaze seemed a bit off. It was as if he had been targeted by a female demon, sending a chill down his spine and making his hair stand on end, as if the next moment he would be devoured whole. You may go. Dual cultivation is important, but take care of your health. Lu Rian said calmly, seemingly concerned about Yi Chen's health, telling him not to overwork himself. Yet in her heart a fierce battle was raging. Should she try dual cultivating with this kid once? How could she bring it up? After all, she was the sect leader. Outside the main hall, as Yi Chen walked back to the small courtyard, he felt deeply puzzled. His mind was filled with Lu Rian's gaze fixed. It felt as if she wanted to devour him. Could the sect master have some designs on him? Was she planning to plunder his talent? At that moment, Yi Chen suddenly shuddered, his hair standing on end, a chill creeping down his spine. It was as if a wolf had set its eyes on him. This sensation was overwhelming, even more piercing than when Lu Rian had fixed her stare upon him. Yi Chen pressed on without changing his expression, but his mind was already on high alert. He was certain someone was watching him, though he didn't yet know their identity. One of Lu Rian's people. Impossible. He already resided in a monitored courtyard, so there was no need for her to assign a covert. Moreover, they were within the sect. Aside from Lu Rian, the only other possibility was the various factions inside the sect. Yi Chen recalled that Lu Rian had previously warned him to beware of Vice Sect Master Jiang Yuyan. That woman had always coveted the position of sect master, forming cliques within the sect to rival Lu Rian's authority. It must be her people. With this thought, Yi Chen relaxed, his tension easing. As long as it wasn't someone sent by the Xiantian sacred land or the Zhang family, he had no fear for his life. As for the internal power struggles within the sect, their ultimate goal was merely to obtain Yi Chen, and they would never let harm come to him. Yi Chen walked all the way back to his courtyard, and the person covertly watching him never revealed themselves. The courtyard gate closed. Around the corner, not far away, Jiang Yuyan withdrew her gaze, a flicker of curiosity crossing her face. What secret does this boy hold? Otherwise, how could Lu Rian and the great elder risk offending the Xiantian sacred land just to protect him? Jiang Yuyan muttered softly, her heart full of doubt. Earlier, Lu Rian's firm stance in defending Yi Chen had already aroused her suspicion. She couldn't understand why a disciple with a yellow-grade spirit root could command such attention from the sect master. After all, the Hahuan sect had thousands of inner and outer disciples, and Lu Rian certainly didn't show such concern for every one of them, let alone assign a private courtyard with trusted disciples guarding the door. She had even sent 3 female disciples to keep him company. There must be a secret behind all this. Jiang Yuyan's mind began to stir, determined to uncover the truth. Perhaps she could exploit the secret within Yi Chen to make a big move, overthrowing Lu Rian and becoming the sect master of the Hahuan sect. She had yearned for the position of sect master for many years. Inside the courtyard, Lin Qingxue and Lu Mengyao were both cultivating. When they saw Yi Chen return, they immediately surrounded him with warmth. "Senior brother, you're back. Are you tired? Sit down and rest a while. Would you like something to eat?" Both of them were considerate, deeply concerned for Yi Chen's health, afraid he might overexert himself. After several attempts, Lin Qingxue and Lu Mengyao had both confirmed one thing: as long as they dual cultivated with Yi Chen, their cultivation would skyrocket. This undoubtedly gave them both a glimpse of an opportunity to grow stronger. Under these circumstances, they naturally paid extra attention to Yi Chen's well-being, hoping to dual cultivate with him more often in bed, breaking through realms just by lying down. "No need, I'm not hungry." Yi Chen waved his hand. He had eaten breakfast before leaving. He glanced around the courtyard, a hint of confusion on his face. "Where's Nianwan? Did she go back to her room to rest?" Yi Chen asked. He remembered that before he left, Su Nianwan had gotten up early to cultivate in the courtyard and had broken through to the Golden Core realm. Could she have been exhausted from last night's exertions, unable to bear the strain, and after breaking through returned to her room to rest? That wasn't impossible. Tempted by the reward of 2 years of cultivation, Chen had pushed himself 10 times in one night until dawn. By the end, Su Nianwan had barely... She's not in the room. Sister Su went back to pack her luggage, as she'll move in later. Lin Qingxue shook her head and explained. The three of them had been sent by Lu Rian to attend to Chen, which meant they were now his people and would naturally live together. Lin Qingxue and Lu Mingyao had already moved their belongings from their previous disciple courtyards to this small one. Su Nianwan, who had arrived in haste yesterday, began her move after a night of dual cultivation with Chen. I see. Chen nodded in understanding, not giving it much thought. He wasn't worried that Su Nianwan would run away, as she had given him her first night, so there was no reason to flee afterward. You too. Your cultivation has improved so quickly. Chen looked at Lin Qingxue and Lu Mingyao in surprise. Only then did he notice that both of their realms had broken through. When they first met, Lin Qingxue and Lu Mingyao were only at the Foundation Establishment initial stage. Now one was at Foundation Establishment middle stage, and the other had even reached peak Foundation Establishment. Such a massive change. Earlier in bed, he had been too focused on his intense efforts to notice their realm shifts. Now that he had broken through to peak Foundation Establishment himself, he could discern it at a glance. It's all thanks to you, senior brother. Otherwise we wouldn't have improved so fast. Lin Qingxue and Lu Mingyao blushed, looking at Chen with shyness and embarrassment. Without his diligent efforts, they would never have broken through so quickly. They were deeply grateful to Chen, though some words were hard to say. My doing. Chen was stunned at first, then as he looked at the two blushing girls, he understood immediately. He had never imagined that during dual cultivation, not only did he receive system rewards, but the female disciples also gained cultivation advancement. What a tough-own deal. Chen suddenly recalled the ambiguous look Lu Rian had given him earlier and instantly guessed what had been on her mind. Well, Lu Rian wanted to sleep with him. She must have learned that dual cultivation could enhance cultivation and thus conceived the idea of cultivating with him. On his way back, Chen had sensed that Lu Rian harbored ulterior motives. Now that he knew her intent, he actually felt relieved. If it was just about desiring his body, dual cultivation wasn't out of the question. What was one more woman? His physique could handle it. At this point, Chen was open to anyone, as it would also earn him rewards. Su Nianwan, with her Earth-grade spirit root, had already brought him double rewards, and he was curious about Lu Rian's talent. What kind of reward would he get from dual cultivating with her? Perhaps a single night could directly send him soaring through multiple realms. The next time he saw Lu Rian, he could ask about her thoughts. Mutual benefit, why not? At a disciple's courtyard in the Huan sect, Su Nianwan had finished packing her belongings. She took one last lingering look at the room she had inhabited for many years, then turned and walked out. Several core disciples who shared the courtyard came to see her off. You've been living well here. Why suddenly move elsewhere? An older female disciple said reluctantly, trying to persuade her to stay. Nianwan, after you leave, there will be no one to practice swordplay with me. Another beautiful female disciple said reluctantly, Nianwan, I will miss you. A younger disciple tugged at Su Nianwan's sleeve and said, Sister Nianwan, I will miss you. All of them were reluctant to see Su Nianwan move out, but no one dared defy the order of sect leader Lu Rian. They also could not understand why Lu Rian had made such a decision. Could it be that she intended to secretly train Su Nianwan? Given her cultivation aptitude, that was indeed a possibility. Even though I am moving away, I am still within the sect. Rest assured, I will often come back to see you all. Su Nianwan looked at the close friends before her and smiled. Although she too was reluctant to part with them, deep down, she eagerly anticipated living with Chen. After the profound exchange the previous night, Su Nianwan's mind was now filled with Chen's image, and all her thoughts were of him. He had completely conquered her. Especially the moment she woke up that morning and broke through to the Golden Core stage. She experienced unprecedented joy. This sensation intoxicated her immensely. So dual cultivation was such a delightful experience. Su Nianwan now packed her luggage, yearning to return to the small courtyard, immediately throw herself into Chen's embrace, and live a life of unbridled bliss. Sister Nianwan, you must come back often. Su Nianwan waved goodbye to the female disciples, then turned and left the courtyard. Not far along, she sensed something amiss. Someone seemed to be following her. Was it a close sister reluctant to see her go? Su Nianwan looked back in confusion. Deputy sect leader. Why are you here? Su Nianwan looked at Jiang Yuyan, who had suddenly appeared behind her, a flicker of surprise crossing her face. The other's courtyard was not located anywhere near this place. It was a considerable distance away. Jiang Yuyan now made no attempt to hide herself. She walked straight up to Su Nianwan and looked at her with a calm expression. I came specially to find you. Find me. Deputy sect leader, is there something you need of me? Su Nianwan found it strange. She rarely had any interaction with Jiang Yuyan, so why would she come? After all, she was the personal disciple of sect leader Lu Ruyan, and the faction of deputy sect leader Jiang Yuyan had always been at odds with them. I heard that Lu, the sect leader, has arranged for you to live with that disciple named Yi Chen. Do you know why? Jiang Yuyan stared directly at Su Nianwan, seeking an answer from her. Your disciple does not know. Su Nianwan shook her head. Even if she did know, she would not tell Jiang Yuyan. Before she went to Yi Chen's small courtyard, Lu Ruyan had already instructed her not to mention this matter to anyone, especially Jiang Yuyan. The one Lu Ruyan most wanted to guard against was deputy sect leader Jiang Yuyan. As a direct disciple, Su Nianwan naturally would not foolishly reveal information. Are you sure you don't know? Jiang Yuyan's face darkened, and she stared at her somberly. Your disciple dare not deceive the deputy sect leader. Su Nianwan replied earnestly. Who was in that courtyard? What has happened these past days? Jiang Yuyan was not ready to give up. She insisted on getting to the bottom of it. This, your disciple cannot say. Su Nianwan shook her head again. She absolutely could not reveal this secret to Jiang Yuyan. Seeing this, Jiang Yuyan glared at Su Nianwan with a livid expression, as if she could devour her. The other party showed her the deputy sect leader no respect at all. This infuriated Jiang Yuyan. Suddenly she sensed something was wrong. Early Golden Core stage. I recall that only a few months ago you had just reached the pinnacle of foundation establishment. So quickly breaking through to the Golden Core realm. Jiang Yuyan examined Su Nianwan in astonishment, finding it incredible. This cultivation speed was even faster than her own when she had broken through to the Golden Core stage. After all, she possessed a heavenly grade spiritual root, which gave her a higher cultivation talent than Su Nianwan's earth grade root, yet the rate at which her cultivation improved could not match the others. This undoubtedly indicated many things. Connecting this with Lu Ruyan's recent actions, Jiang Yuyan became even more convinced that the small courtyard must hold an unspeakable secret. Perhaps it was a means Lu Ruyan had devised against her. She had to know this secret. Very well, even you dare hide the truth from me. Do you truly believe I dare not do anything to you? Jiang Yuyan snorted coldly, suddenly striking out and grabbing Su Nianwan by the neck, not giving her any chance to resist. The next moment, Jiang Yuyan seized Su Nianwan and swiftly departed, her figure soon vanishing from sight. In the small courtyard, Yi Chen anxiously awaited Su Nianwan's return, a growing unease settling in his heart. How could packing take so long? Yet within the sect, she was hardly in any danger, was she? Why hasn't Nianwan returned after such a long time? Yi Chen muttered fretfully. Senior brother, don't worry. Perhaps Sister Su was delayed because she couldn't bear to part with her fellow disciples. She should be back soon. Lin Qingxue comforted him from the side. When she and Lu Mengyao had gone back to pack earlier, they too had spent quite some time saying goodbye to the sisters in their courtyard. Thus she assumed Su Nianwan was in the same situation. Hearing this, Yi Chen nodded, thoughtfully accepting the explanation. Perhaps that's the case. Yet his heart still felt uneasy, though he could not pinpoint what was wrong. Lin Qingxue noticed Yi Chen's worry. She moved closer, took his arm, and shook it gently while trying to soothe him. Standing so near, her abundant chest rubbed against his arm back and forth. Senior brother, rest assured. Sister Su will come back. Yi Chen felt the soft touch. His mind went blank, and his body began to heat up. His inner turmoil found a moment of peace. He turned to look at Lin Qingxue, who was so close, a gleam of desire flashing in his eyes. He looked like a fierce wolf ready to devour this little lamb. Meeting Yi Chen's scorching gaze, Lin Qingxue blushed instantly, realizing her impropriety, and quickly stepped back a little. Son, senior brother, it's still early in the day. One glance, and she knew what was on his mind. Yesterday he had tormented her thoroughly. She had slept for half a day before waking. Even now, walking was faintly painful. She dared not entertain any wild thoughts so soon. But you started this. Yi Chen stared straight at her. Lin Qingxue's face grew even redder, as if it might bleed. She had not meant to. It was just that her chest was too large, and if she got too close it accidentally brushed against him. Yi Chen refused to listen to her explanation. Senior brother, he'll go call Sister Su and ask her to come back early. Lin Qingxue said hastily, her face flushed as she stood up and walked out of the courtyard. She truly dared not continue tormenting herself further, lest she end up dead in bed. At the very least, she needed to rest for 2 days before attempting again. This girl. She stirs up the fire and then runs off herself. Yi Chen muttered with a wry smile, watching Lin Qingxue's fleeing figure. What was he supposed to do now? Seeing that Lin Qingxue had fled, Yi Chen could only turn his gaze to Lu Mengyao, who was sitting on the other side. Mengyao, it seems you've had an idle day yesterday. Today let your senior brother dote on you properly, Yi Chen said with a grin. It was at times like this that he appreciated the benefits of having many women around him. When one was unavailable, there was always another to choose from. Senior brother. Lu Mengyao did not refuse, nodding shyly with a blush. She had been eavesdropping the entire night before, already burning with unfulfilled desire. Now that Yi Chen was taking the initiative, she was more than willing, even eager, and immediately stood up. Don't worry, this time your senior brother will be gentle and cherish you. Yi Chen promised, scooping up the curvaceous Lu Mingyao and striding toward the nearby room. Ding. Congratulations, host, you have obtained 1 year of cultivation. Ding. Congratulations, host, you have obtained a celestial grade weapon flying feather sword. Ding. Congratulations, host, you have obtained the immortal slaying talisman. Activate by infusing spiritual energy. Its power rivals a full force strike from a refining void stage expert. Yi Chen was momentarily stunned, almost thinking he was hallucinating. Immortal slaying talisman. What puzzled Yi Chen was not the name of the talisman, but the annotation of its power. It rivaled a full force strike from the refining void stage. That was enough to instantly kill any cultivator below the spirit transformation stage. After all, even the sect leader Lu Rian was only at the peak of the spirit transformation stage. If only he had possessed this immortal slaying talisman back, then the Yi family might not have been massacred. What was the young master of the mystic heaven sacred land, or the nascent soul stage elders? They would all be instantly annihilated. Coming to his senses, Yi Chen laughed with glee, his emotions surging even more. This is truly a treasure. With this immortal slaying talisman, it is undoubtedly an extra means of survival. If he ever encountered the young master of the mystic heaven sacred land, Yi Chen was confident he could kill him and avenge his family. He had not expected that dual cultivation with Lu Mingyao, who possessed a mystic grade spirit root, would yield such generous rewards. Yi Chen immediately realized that each time there was a certain chance of obtaining high-tier rewards, and the higher the talent of the dual cultivation partner, the greater the chance of triggering such rewards. Thinking of this, a premature idea sprouted in Yi Chen's mind. Quantity over quality. Senior brother, what are you muttering about? What treasure? Lu Mingyao asked curiously upon hearing Yi Chen's mutterings. She looked up, a hint of confusion flickering in her eyes. She didn't see anything in Yi Chen's hands. Could she have imagined it? She hadn't fallen asleep either. Her thoughts were in turmoil. Yi Chen glanced down at her, a smile spreading across his face. No time to explain. Lu Mingyao. Ding. Congratulations, host, you have obtained 1 year of cultivation. Ding. Congratulations, host, you have obtained an invisibility talisman lasting 2 hours. Ding. Congratulations, host, you have obtained a pair of tracking mother-child goo worms. Release the child worm after locking onto a target's aura. The mother worm can track the target's location. An hour later, the room fell into silence. Yi Chen leaned against the bed, wiping sweat from his brow, feeling parched and desperate for a gulp of cold water. Recalling the fleeting reward notifications, a pang of disappointment struck him. So close yet so far. He had almost made it. Although he had once again obtained talismans and goo worms, none could compare to the immortal slaying talisman he had received earlier. He had not obtained another offensive talisman like that one. Beside him, Lu Mingyao had fallen asleep in exhaustion, and Yi Chen was equally spent. Even if he continued toiling now, it was unlikely he would obtain something as good as the immortal slaying talisman. It seems I need to find partners with higher grade spirit roots for dual cultivation. Only then will the drop rate be higher. Yi Chen murmured to himself, immediately thinking of her drop rate should be quite high, but an ordinary disciple like him wanting to sleep with the sect leader was somewhat unrealistic. Lu Rian was a spirit transformation stage expert. A force was definitely out of the question. She would be the one overpowering him. He would have to settle for the next best thing and strive for more intimate exchanges with Su Nianwan, who had an earth-grade spirit root. Su Nianwan's drop rate was not low either, who every time he hit the mark it brought double rewards. Yi Chen firmly believed that as long as he diligently cultivated, he would surely reap rewards. Senior brother, something terrible. Something has happened to Sister Su. Outside came Lin Qingsu's urgent cries. Her voice was filled with anxiety. Yi Chen's heart sank, immediately sensing something was wrong. He swiftly got up, dressed, and rushed out of the room. As he walked, he straightened his clothes. Looking up at Lin Qingxue, who was running toward him, he asked, "What's wrong? Where's Nianwan?" "Sister Su is missing." Lin Qingxue stopped in front of Yi Chen, her face full of panic, breathing heavily. The senior sisters in the same courtyard said Sister Su left a few hours ago. They seemed to hear sounds of a struggle outside, but when they went to check they saw no one. Sister Su might have been abducted. Hearing this, Yi Chen's brow furrowed with gravity. He suddenly recalled being followed earlier and realized they were being targeted. Who could have done this? The sect's supreme elders, vice sect leader Jiang Yuyan, or an expert from the mystic heaven sacred land. Yi Chen couldn't yet determine whether the sect's elders were friend or foe. The only one he could trust was sect leader Lu Rian. It was Lu Rian who had sent Su Nianwan to dual cultivate with him, so she couldn't have kidnapped her. If the sect's supreme elders wanted to see Su Nianwan, they could simply summon her with a word, and even sect leader Lu Rian wouldn't dare to obstruct. This was within the inner sect of the Hahuan sect. No matter how powerful the mystic heaven sacred land's forces were, they couldn't abduct a core disciple without a trace. Other disciples in the sect lacked the ability to deal with Su Nianwan. The only suspect was vice sect leader Jiang Yuyan. Could it be her doing? Yi Chen muttered. She was Lu Rian's mortal enemy, and whether it was tailing him or abducting Su Nianwan, it would serve her purpose of uncovering the secrets of the small courtyard. Jiang Yuyan was highly suspect. Senior brother, who are you talking about? Who could have abducted Sister Su? This is within the sect, and she is the sect leader's personal disciple. Who would dare to do such a thing? Lin Qingxue looked at Yi Chen with a puzzled expression and asked. Given Su Nianwan's golden core stage cultivation, even among the inner disciples, few could rival her. She was the cream of the younger generation. Yi Chen lifted his head to glance at Lin Qingxue and said calmly, Jiang Yuyan. Jiang. The vice sect leader. Lin Qingxue found the name familiar and instantly recalled who she was unable to suppress a gasp of surprise. She looked at Yi Chen with utter disbelief. That can't be right. Why would the vice sect leader abduct Sister Su? Sister Su has never offended her. Lin Qingxue couldn't bring herself to believe it. For inner disciples like them, both the sect leader and the vice sect leader were lofty figures beyond reproach or defiance. With a mere flick of the finger, those powerful figures could end their lives. Seeing that Lin Qingxue still did not grasp the connections, Yi Chen patiently explained. Jiang Yuyan did this to extract the secrets of this courtyard from Nianwan. In other words, she wants to know the sect leader's purpose behind all this. Lin Qingxue suddenly understood the whole picture. It was clearly a conflict between the sect leader and the vice sect leader, and innocent Su Nianwan had been caught in the crossfire. Her heart grew even more anxious. Senior brother, what should we do? Should we inform the sect leader? Let the sect leader confront the vice sect leader and demand Sister Su's release. Yi Chen shook his head. We can tell the sect leader about this, but we have to find Jiang Yuyan ourselves. Even if the sect leader intervenes, Jiang Yuyan can deny everything and no one can do anything. Although Lu Rian and Jiang Yuyan were at odds like fire and water clashing in secret, at least on the surface, they maintained a facade of harmony. Yi Chen was uncertain whether Lu Rian would completely break ties with Jiang Yuyan for Su Nianwan's sake, or if she might sacrifice Su Nianwan for the good of the sect. But Yi Chen absolutely could not stand by. After all, Su Nianwan was his woman. However, these were still just his conjectures. He was only preparing for the worst. He quickly walked towards Su Nianwan's room. Senior brother, what are you going to do? Under Lin Qingxue's puzzled gaze, Yi Chen took the soul-seeking mother-child goo from his storage ring and released the child goo to identify Su Nianwan's scent left on her. After locking onto the scent, the child goo swiftly flew out of the room. At the same time, the box containing the mother goo in Yi Chen's hand emitted a faint tremor. Let's go follow it and see who abducted Nianwan, Yi Chen said. The two quickly hurried out of the house. Lin Qingxue still felt uneasy. Senior brother, what if it really is the vice sect leader? That was a cultivator at the divine transformation stage. Hearing this, Yi Chen didn't even turn around. So what if it's the vice sect leader? Anyone who dares to touch my woman, even the heavens themselves, won't get my respect. Lin Qingxue's heart trembled, and she looked at Yi Chen with growing admiration, a warm feeling swelling inside her. Being senior brother's woman was truly wonderful. Soon the two arrived at the outskirts of an estate. From a distance, Yi Chen saw the child goo he had released fly into the courtyard. It was confirmed that Su Nianwan was inside the courtyard. That's the vice sect leader's estate ahead. She really did abduct Sister Su. Lin Qingxue exclaimed in surprise after seeing it clearly. She had thought Yi Chen's speculation was too bold, but it turned out to be true. Go inform the sect leader, Yi Chen said, looking at Lin Qingxue. All right. Wait, senior brother, what about you? Lin Qingxue was about to leave when she suddenly stopped, her face filled with worry as she looked at Yi Chen, afraid he would take risks alone. That was the vice sect leader, a divine transformation stage expert. No matter how powerful Yi Chen was now, he was only at the peak foundation establishment stage. He could be taken out in an instant. She didn't want Yi Chen to take such a risk. Yi Chen saw the worry in Lin Qingxue's eyes and shook his head with a smile. Don't worry, I'm not going to die. They'll just keep watch here. You go quickly. Relieved to hear this, Lin Qingxue finally relaxed. Senior brother, wait for me. With that, she turned and left. Once Lin Qingxue was out of sight, Yi Chen wiped the smile off his face, took a talisman from his storage ring. He infused it with spiritual energy, and the talisman instantly transformed into a beam of light that enveloped him, erasing his aura as his body began to fade from sight. An invisibility talisman. Truly a useful treasure. Yi Chen knew well that even if Lu Rian came personally, Jiang Yuyan would never admit to abducting Su Nianwan. Even a complete fallout would be useless. She might even turn the tables and accuse them of conspiracy. Yi Chen had to find Su Nianwan first, so he could join forces with Lu Rian to demand an explanation. Moreover, Su Nianwan had been in Jiang Yuyan's hands for several hours already. During that time, if Jiang Yuyan couldn't extract the secrets she wanted, she might very well kill Su Nianwan to silence her. Su Nianwan's life was in grave danger, and Yi Chun had little time to save her. No one knew what Jiang Yuyin might do next. But one thing was certain, she would never willingly hand Su Nianwan over. Yi Chun immediately walked toward the nearby estate and effortlessly climbed over the wall. Now that no one could see him, he could come and go freely. Guided by the mother gu in his hand, Yi Chun easily located a side room. After confirming there was no sound from inside, he pushed the door open. Creak. The door swung open. Su Nianwan, whose cultivation was sealed and bound in the corner, watched the door open out of thin air, a flicker of terror in her eyes. There was no one outside. How could the door have opened by itself? Could there be ghosts in broad daylight? The next second, a hand landed on her shoulder. Up. Su Nianwan shuddered, her face turning pale with fear as she struggled desperately. Don't be afraid, it's me. Yi Chen's voice echoed in her ears. Su Nianwan, who had been struggling a moment before, froze instantly. She turned her head toward the empty air beside her, unable to believe her ears. Was it her imagination? Elder brother Yi, is that you? It's me. I've come to rescue you. Receiving the affirmative reply, Su Nianwan finally relaxed, deeply moved in her heart. She never expected Yi Chun to risk sneaking into the vice sect leader's estate to save her. Swish! Yi Chun untied the ropes binding Su Nianwan and pulled her up to leave. Though Su Nianwan couldn't see Yi Chun, she could feel his presence beside her, and the warmth of his hand brought her comfort. Just as they stepped outside, a figure descended from the sky and blocked their path. Did I permit you to leave? Jiang Yuyin coldly stared at Su Nianwan, who had managed to escape. A flicker of doubt crossed her mind. How could the other woman with her cultivation sealed and bound by ropes have broken free? Vice Sect Master. Su Nianwan froze the moment she saw the newcomer, her face turning pale with terror. It was over. With her and Yi Chen's strength, there was no way they could escape from this woman. The oppressive aura of the divine transformation stage was overwhelming. Vice Sect Master, I've already told you everything I know. Please let me go. I truly am just moving to a new courtyard. There is no secret at all. Su Nianwan hastily explained, begging the other to spare her. At that moment, her greatest fear was that the invisible Yi Chun beside her would be discovered, in which case they would both surely die. Jiang Yuyin sneered coldly as she spoke. If you don't wish to speak, I won't force you. But if you think you can leave, that is absolutely impossible. A vice sect master who kidnaps her own direct disciple. How would I ever hold my head high in the sect if this gets out? From the moment she took Su Nianwan, she had already decided to silence her. There was no way she would let this affair spread. It would be a devastating blow to Jiang Yuyin's reputation. If the other disciples learned of this, she would undoubtedly face punishment from the sect, perhaps even expulsion. Jiang Yuyin would show no mercy. Whether Su Nianwan eventually spoke or not, she would still kill her without hesitation. Hearing this, Su Nianwan's heart trembled as she realized the other had murderous intent. She staggered back in terror, as if only now seeing Jiang Yuyin's true nature. But it was too late, as she couldn't escape now. I am the sect master's direct disciple. Kill me, and the sect master will never forgive you. Su Nianwan tried to struggle. Hep. Jiang Yuyin let out a cold laugh. As long as I deny it, who would know it was I who killed you? She was confident that when she had taken Su Nianwan earlier, no one had seen her. Now the way she looked at Su Nianwan was as if she were already dead. Su Nianwan's entire body turned cold. The moment her vital energy was locked onto despair filled her heart. There were so many people she couldn't bear to leave, yet she hadn't even had a chance to say goodbye properly. Was she going to die like this? She didn't even dare to cry out for help for fear that the invisible Yi Chun would act and lose his life. And to have seen Yi Chun one last time at the final moment of her life and to know his feelings, Su Nianwan was content. Although she and Yi Chun had only exchanged words for one night, their bond was as deep as that of a couple married for years. Su Nianwan gently closed her eyes, prepared to embrace death. She did this also to make Yi Chun not save her and flee quickly. Since you'd rather die than reveal this secret, then he'll send you on your way. It's a pity about your talent. Jiang Yuyin said coldly, with not a trace of emotion in her eyes. A disciple with an earth-grade spiritual root was a rare find. Killing her would be a significant loss to the sect. But she had to do it. Jiang Yuyin raised her hand and flicked a streak of spiritual energy through the air. Suddenly, a sword aura slashed through the air. Boom! A thunderous roar erupted. The spiritual energy was shattered by the sword and vanished completely. Who is it? Jiang Yuyin's face darkened as she warily stared at the air beside Su Nianwan. Though she had struck casually, the power of that sword was not weak. Most importantly, she hadn't even sensed another person's presence. The next second, a flash of sword light appeared before her eyes. Seeking death. Jiang Yuyin gently patted the air, and a ripple spread before her. Yi Chen's figure flew backward, crashing onto the ground not far away, with his celestial-grade spiritual sword falling beside him. The effect of the invisibility talisman was shattered instantly. So it's you. Jiang Yuyan's gaze fell on Yi Chen, a flicker of surprise in her eyes. She had never expected the one who had infiltrated the courtyard to be Yi Chen. Although this was their first formal meeting, Jiang Yuyan had already followed Yi Chen before and knew he was the source of the secret. "Senior brother, are you all right? Don't worry about me, just go quickly." Su Nianwan hurried over, her voice choked with tears. She hadn't expected Yi Chen to come to her rescue. Touched as she was, her heart was filled with even more worry. The gap between their strengths was too vast. Yi Chen stood no chance against Jiang Yuyan. Revealing himself now was undoubtedly suicide. Cough, cough. Yi Chen wiped the blood from his mouth. He was seriously injured, and a bitter smile appeared on his face. Still too weak. He had planned to ambush Jiang Yuyan using the invisibility talisman, but the woman had nearly killed him in a single blow. In that instant, Yi Chen had felt as if he were about to die. Fortunately, Jiang Yuyan hadn't struck with full force, giving him a chance to catch his breath. It was then that he realized the immense gap between them. Even a sneak attack wouldn't defeat her. Yi Chen looked at Su Nianwan and waved his hand. "Don't worry, I'm fine. How could I ever abandon you and run away alone?" Hearing Yi Chen's words, Su Nianwan sobbed even harder, her heart overflowing with gratitude. "What was senior brother?" Su Nianwan silently vowed that if they survived this, she would spend the rest of her life repaying Yi Chen's devotion. "I was looking for you, but you've delivered yourself to me. Tell me, what is the secret between you and Lu Ruyan? If you speak honestly, perhaps I'll consider letting you both go." Jiang Yuyan looked at Yi Chen with interest, not striking immediately, but asking curiously. Her purpose in capturing Su Nianwan was to pry out the secret from her. Now that Yi Chen, the very source, stood before her, Jiang Yuyan felt pleasantly surprised and wanted to get the answer from him. Yi Chen forced himself to stand despite his injuries, gave Jiang Yuyan a contemptuous look, and spat out a mouthful of blood. "You're not worthy, eh?" He held Jiang Yuyan in utter disdain. A vice sect master, yet stooping to such despicable deeds. Jiang Yuyan's face instantly darkened. Killing intent radiated from her as her eyes fixed on Yi Chen as if she wanted to tear him apart. After all, she was the vice sect master, yet none of the disciples showed her any respect. Wasn't that too humiliating? "Brat, you're asking for death." Jiang Yuyan gritted her teeth, her murderous intent toward Yi Chen blazing. "The one asking for death is you." Yi Chen stared back at her unafraid. Then he took out the beheading immortal talisman from his storage ring. This was Yi Chen's trump card, capable of unleashing a blow comparable to the full strength of the void refinement stage. He had originally kept it for when he would storm the sacred Xiantian sect to take revenge, but now he had to use it to save his life. Without a moment's hesitation, he infused a trace of spiritual energy to activate the beheading immortal talisman. "What is this?" Jiang Yuyan slightly furrowed her brow, staring at the immortal slaying talisman. In Yi Chen's hand, a faint unease stirring in her heart. She sensed a threat from the talisman. This talisman could potentially kill her. How could a Foundation establishment disciple possess such a high-grade talisman? Seeing Yi Chen had already activated the talisman, she had no time to think further. "You brat, have you lost your mind?" Jiang Yuyan panicked. How could this kid attack without a word of negotiation? There was no room for discussion. She hastily condensed a spiritual energy shield to block, planning to withstand this strike first, and then settle accounts with Yi Chen. "I must kill this brat today." Jiang Yuyan's hatred for Yi Chen reached its peak. The next moment, the immortal slaying talisman erupted with terrifying spiritual energy. Countless flying swords emerged from it, swirling in the air, radiating a cold, sinister gleam. The overwhelming sword aura sent chills down one's spine. Like a sword formation enveloping the courtyard, thousands of flying swords locked onto Jiang Yuyan's aura and then mercilessly descended. "Hold it back." Jiang Yuyan's heart startled, sensing fear as she desperately channeled her spiritual energy to resist. She even summoned her life-bound treasure to withstand the countless sword aura. Boom, boom, boom. In an instant, flashes of spiritual light exploded. No! Jiang Yuyan's pupils contracted as she felt boundless terror. Her life-bound treasure was shattered. The spiritual energy shield before her collapsed. Countless flying swords pierced through her body, obliterating her primordial spirit. A mutilated, blood-drenched body fell to the ground. A divine transformation realm powerhouse had fallen. The flying swords dissipated, and the sword formation vanished. The courtyard returned to silence. Su Nianwan stared dumbfounded at the scene before her, as if in a dream, her mind a blank. This? How is it possible? The vice sect leader, she just died. She even suspected she was hallucinating. Jiang Yuyan of the divine transformation realm had been instantly killed by a single talisman. It was simply unbelievable. Yi Chen was also somewhat surprised. Even though he had known the power of the immortal slaying talisman beforehand, he still found it awe-inspiring at the moment of release. Was this the power of the void tribulation realm? At that moment, Yi Chen was filled with a longing for strength. Then several figures hurriedly arrived through the void. Lu Rian appeared in the courtyard, letting out a long sigh of relief when she saw Yi Chen unharmed. When she saw Jiang Yuyan's corpse, she was instantly stunned, frozen in place at a loss. She thought she had misseen it. She even suspected Jiang Yuyan was playing dead. Jiang Yuyan, also of the divine transformation realm, who across the entire sect could kill her. Jiang Yuyan. How could this be? The next moment, a few supreme elders also appeared before everyone. What happened? Who was attacking just now? A void tribulation realm powerhouse. Could it be someone from the Xiantian Holy Land? Wait. How did Jiang Yuyan die? They had all been alarmed by the power unleashed by the immortal slaying talisman. Equivalent to a full-force strike from a void tribulation realm, such a commotion could not be hidden from them. Suddenly seeing Jiang Yuyan's corpse on the ground, the supreme elders also changed expression. Who did this? The hot-tempered second elder demanded with a dark scowl. The death of the vice sect leader within the sect was undoubtedly a provocation against the Hahuan sect and a slap to their faces. In an instant, the supreme elders' gazes unanimously turned to Lu Rian. At this moment, aside from Lu Rian and themselves, only the two disciples Yi Chen and Su Nianwan were in the courtyard. A foundation establishment and a golden core disciple, the two of them combined, could not match even a finger of Jiang Yuyan's. How could they? Lu Rian had undoubtedly become the prime suspect. She indeed had the strength to do so. Moreover, Lu Rian and Jiang Yuyan had never gotten along, making her a plausible perpetrator. Lu Rian. Meeting the suspicious gazes of the supreme elders, Lu Rian was stunned for a few seconds before quickly explaining. Why are you all looking at me? I have only just arrived. Even if I usually don't get along with my junior sister, I would never kill her. Lu Rian smiled bitterly, inexplicably taking the blame. Though she had always wanted to eliminate Jiang Yuyan, she had never actually acted for the sake of sect stability. Now she was also puzzled who could have killed the supreme elders, perhaps recalling that they had indeed seen Lu Rian's figure on their way here, gradually let go of their suspicion toward her. Then who could it be? The second elder frowned and gritted his teeth. His gaze involuntarily turned to Yi Chen and Su Nianwan, not far away. You two, speak. Who killed the vice sect leader? As eyewitnesses present, they surely knew who had done it. The others also looked over. It was a black-robed figure. He appeared invisibly in the courtyard and ambushed the vice sect leader. The black-robed figure was very strong. The vice sect leader had no time to react before being killed. Yi Chen raised his head, meeting the crowd's gaze, and explained with feigned terror. His voice trembled with fear like a frightened quail. A black-robed figure who can turn invisible. Everyone changed color and immediately became alert. A void tribulation realm enemy capable of concealing his aura was a threat to them. He could ambush at any moment. Where did he go? One of the elders demanded nervously. Yi Chen tremblingly pointed in a direction. After killing the vice sect leader, he fled that way. Everyone followed the direction Yi Chen indicated and frowned hesitantly. They had not sensed anyone escaping when they arrived. Could it be that the enemy was so powerful that he had again concealed his aura while fleeing? Did this black-robed figure leave any words? The Grand Elder, who had remained silent until now, asked Yi Chen. His murky eyes flickered with a profound murderous light. Killing the vice sect leader of the Hahuan sect was a blatant provocation. It was tantamount to declaring war on the Hahuan sect. Facing the Grand Elder's inquiry, Yi Chen replied without hesitation. This is the price of offending the Xiantian Holy Land. Su Nianwan was stunned by the scene. Yi Chen lied without a blush, as if it were true. She even wondered if she had misseen it. Su Nianwan saw through it, but said nothing, as she would never expose Yi Chen's lie. From the moment Yi Chen saved her, she had given herself completely to him, even willing to die for him. What? The Xiantian Holy Land. Damn them. Do they think the Hahuan sect is easy to bully? Several supreme elders burst into furious curses. Though they were wary of the Xiantian Holy Land, they would not allow themselves to be trampled upon. Especially now that a vice sect leader had died, they could not swallow this insult. At this moment, none of them doubted Yi Chen's words, all convinced that the Xiantian Holy Land was the murderer. After all, only two Foundation Establishment and Golden Core disciples remained in the courtyard. Jiang Yuyan could not have been killed by them. No one would believe that. Everyone was fuming and overlooked why Yi Chen and Su Nianwan were in the courtyard. Two disciples seeking guidance from the vice sect leader was perfectly reasonable. A flicker of astonishment crossed Lu Rian's countenance as she cast a dubious glance at Yi Chen, a gnawing sensation unsettling her heart. How could it be so coincidental? Another encounter with the Xiantian sacred ground. Could this lad be fabricating lies? Deliberately sowing discord between the Hahuan sect and the Xiantian sacred ground, seeking to employ the sword of another to accomplish his own ends. Yet the corpse of Jiang Yuyan lay before them, a stark testament to her murder. Who else, but a formidable cultivator from the Xiantian sacred ground, could have perpetrated such a deed? If that were indeed the case, the actions of the Xiantian sacred ground reeked of overweening tyranny. Lu Rian's face darkened as she silently vowed to strengthen her sect to one day amass the power to stand against them. In the wake of this incident, the sect braced for imminent peril, activating its protective formation. All disciples abroad were summoned back to the sect lest they fall prey to an attack from the Xiantian sacred ground. The entire sect's disciples redoubled their efforts, sworn to seek justice from the Xiantian sacred ground. Lu Rian issued a flurry of commands, her hands full, yet her heart oddly exhilarated. Though a vice-sect leader had perished for Lu Rian, this was a stroke of fortune. No longer would she have to contend with opposition, nor constantly fear being usurped from her position. She could now govern the Huan sect with greater ease, steering it toward ever greater strength. Perhaps aware of Yi Chen's exceptional talent, the Grand Elder harbored no suspicion toward him. Even when other elders sought to press further questions, he waved them off, allowing Yi Chen to slip away unimpeded. Thus Yi Chen made his escape, returning to the courtyard with Su Nianwan and Lin Qingxue, who had rushed to the scene in haste. Outside the courtyard, several nascent soul stage protectors of the sect stood guard, dispatched by Lu Rian to ensure Yi Chen's safety. Yet if a Lianshu stage cultivator from the Xiantian sacred ground were to strike, these guardians would be powerless to resist. Consequently, the Grand Elder relocated from his cave on the back mountain to a dwelling adjacent to the courtyard. Officially, this move was to oversee the protective formation. In truth, it was to keep a close watch over Yi Chen. For the Grand Elder understood that once Yi Chen's sowing bore fruit, disciples born with spiritual roots, the Huan sect would be transformed beyond recognition. The Grand Elder had already pinned the sect's future on Yi Chen, placing immense hope in him. Back in the courtyard, the awakened Lu Mingyao waited in the yard, still shaken by the earlier commotion of the sword formation, terrified that Yi Chen and the others might have come to harm. As she saw them return, she immediately rushed forward. "Senior brother, sister Su, sister Lin, you're back." Lu Mingyao breathed a sigh of relief upon seeing Yi Chen and Su Nian. Just then she noticed the bloodstain at the corner of Yi Chen's mouth and asked with concern, "Senior brother, are you injured?" "Don't worry, it's just a scratch. Nothing serious." Yi Chen waved his hand with feigned ease, forcing a smile. Yet his pallid visage betrayed the gravity of his wounds. After all, Zhang Yuyan was a Huashan stage powerhouse. Even a casual strike could leave him severely injured. "Are you sure?" Lu Mingyao was half convinced. When she saw Su Nianwan's somber expression, she knew Yi Chen's injuries were no small matter. "Senior brother, you should go to your room and rest." At that moment, Lin Qingxue and Su Nianwan each supported Yi Chen by an arm, leaving Lu Mingyao unable to intervene her anxiety. They helped Yi Chen into Su Nianwan's room, laid him on the bed, and fumbled about retrieving various healing pills. Seeing this, Yi Chen felt a warmth in his heart. Smiling, he waved his hand and said, "No need to search. I have my own pills. The sect leader already gave me a bottle of medicine for my injury. Rest assured, after a few days of rest, I'll be fine." Earlier, when they departed from Jiang Yuan's courtyard, Lu Rian seemed to have discerned Yi Chen's injuries and had graciously offered him a bottle of pills of no ordinary grade, far more potent than what Lu Mingyao and the others had produced. After consuming them, the injuries within his body were largely suppressed. Hearing these words, Lu Mingyao and the others finally relaxed, though their gazes remained laden with worry. Over the past few days, their hearts had become wholly entwined with Yi Chen. Should he die, the three women truly did not know how they could carry on. "Senior brother, you must be hungry, right? He'll prepare something for you." Lu Mingyao spoke up. By now, night had fallen outside, and after a long day's toil, Yi Chen was surely famished. "He'll come with you," said Lin Qingxue. The two departed together, leaving Su Nianwan alone in the room to keep Yi Chen company. The room fell into a sudden silence. Ever since their return, Su Nianwan had been mute, her lips sealed. Yi Chen raised his head to meet her gaze as if reading her thoughts, and spoke first. "You must have many questions, don't you? How I found you, for instance. And that talisman from earlier." Others might not understand, but Su Nianwan was a witness. A Foundation establishment stage disciple wielding a single talisman, slaying a Huashan stage powerhouse. A sight that would stagger anyone who beheld it. Meeting Yi Chen's eyes, Su Nianwan immediately said, "If senior brother doesn't wish to speak, I won't ask. I will never breathe a word of these." With that, she made a solemn vow. Su Nianwan understood full well that these methods were Yi Chen's secrets. If they were leaked, they could easily bring about his doom. She would keep her lips sealed. Hearing her declaration, Yi Chen smiled with gratification. He appreciated dealing with intelligent people. This saved him the trouble of fabricating lies to evade her curiosity. His sole regret was the consumption of the immortal slaying talisman. A treasure used once was lost forever. To obtain another would require a stroke of fortune. With luck, after several sowings, he might receive another. Without it, he might never lay hands on such a treasure again. Yet Yi Chen harbored no regret. In that moment, he had to save Su Nianwan and survive himself. Killing Zhang Yuyan was the only way. "I thank senior brother for saving my life. From this day forth, I, Su Nianwan, will serve you like a beast of burden, repaying your kindness." Su Nianwan vowed with unwavering resolve. There's no need for such servitude. Between us such formality is uncalled for. Yi Chen waved his hand and said with earnest grace, But what? Su Nianwan was taken aback. Meeting his teasing gaze, she followed his line of sight, looking down. She could not see her toes past her own figure, and her face flushed crimson in an instant. Senior brother, you're so wicked. Your wounds haven't healed yet. Su Nianwan blushed as she remonstrated, not expecting Yi Chen to revert to his mischievous ways. But Yi Chen paid no heed. He reached out, grasped Su Nianwan's arm, and pulled her into his embrace. Senior brother. Please don't. Su Nianwan's body went limp as she nestled in Yi Chen's arms, her face crimson. She feared aggravating his injuries. Don't worry, I'm fine. This little scratch is nothing. Didn't you just swear to repay me? Now is the time for you to fulfill that promise. Yi Chen whispered against Su Nianwan's ear. He wished to practice cultivation with her, hoping to reap another immortal slaying talisman. Senior brother. Your injuries. Su Nianwan murmured bashfully, burying her head low, not daring to meet Yi Chen's gaze. A trace of worry lingered in her heart. I told you this little wound is nothing. Don't worry. Yi Chen looked at her with a teasing glint in his eyes and drew closer. Su Nianwan's cheeks flushed even deeper, her thoughts growing increasingly tangled. Ding. Congratulations, host, for receiving 2 years of cultivation rewards. Ding. Congratulations, host, for obtaining a bottle of Peiyuan pills. In the courtyard, Lin Qingxue and Lu Minjiu's faces suddenly turned. They exchanged glances, wanting to speak, but holding back, their cheeks as red as ripe apples. Senior brother. This is his injuries. Lin Qingxue and Lu Mingyao hesitated, both inwardly worried about Yi Chen's wounds. At that moment, a suspicion stirred in their hearts. They quickly halted their steps, their cheeks burning. Being thin-skinned, they felt a wave of embarrassment. Assuming Yi Chen's injuries were not serious, Lin Qingxue and Lu Mingyao gradually relaxed. Sister Mingyao, perhaps we should leave first. Lin Qingxue blushed and whispered hesitantly. Ow. Right. Lu Mingyao nodded in agreement. It wouldn't be appropriate for them to intrude at a time like this. It seems we won't need to call them for dinner together after all. Lu Mingyao muttered softly. They both knew Yi Chen well enough to realize dinner would turn into a midnight snack or even breakfast. Lin Qingxue tiptoed to the door and considerately closed it. Then the two of them picked up their lunchboxes and turned away. Silently, they left Yi Chen and Su Nianwan alone. Ding. Congratulations, host, for receiving 2 years of cultivation rewards. Ding. Congratulations, host, for obtaining 1 everlasting vitality pill. Ding. Congratulations, host, for obtaining 1 thunderclap talisman. When infused with spiritual energy, its power rivals a full-force strike from a nascent soul cultivator. Yi Chen listened to the series of reward notifications in his mind, and the appearance of the thunderclap talisman filled him with delight. Although it was an attack talisman, its power was not as strong as the immortal slaying talisman, yet it undoubtedly gave Yi Chen hope. He felt he was drawing closer to obtaining the immortal slaying talisman, as if he might obtain it in the very next moment. Yi Chen took an everlasting vitality pill from his storage ring and swallowed it. 3 seconds later, he felt all fatigue vanish, his energy restored to its peak. With the blessing of the everlasting vitality pill, Yi Chen felt he could go on. He was determined to obtain the immortal slaying talisman. Senior brother. What pill did you just take? Su Nianwan looked at Yi Chen, seeming to catch a whiff of medicinal fragrance, and asked in astonishment. Moreover, Yi Chen seemed like a completely different person. At this moment, she was even more concerned about his body, especially since he was still injured. Relax. Have you only just met your senior brother today? Yi Chen declared with utmost confidence. He had great faith in the pills rewarded by the system. At least they had no side effects, so there was nothing to worry about. The only thing to consider was their efficacy. Su Nianwan. In the courtyard shrouded by night, Lin Qingxue and Lu Mingyao stayed in their own rooms, doors and windows, both tossed and turned in bed, unable to sleep, their cheeks flushed, hearts fluttering with an indescribable restlessness. Their thoughts drifted, growing more chaotic. How could senior brother be like this? Is he trying to kill himself? They muttered to themselves, their minds unsettled. Closing their eyes offered no respite, and the endless hours felt unbearable. As dawn approached, this night was destined to be sleepless. Lin Qingxue and Lu Mingyao sank into deep thought. Unconsciously, a sudden longing for Yi Chen arose in their hearts. At the same time, they worried about Yi Chen's body. He was still injured, wouldn't he exhaust himself? They even feared that Su Nianwan might not be able to endure. Would she be worn out by Yi Chen's antics? In a nearby courtyard, the Grand Elder, who had been cultivating in meditation within his chamber, abruptly opened his eyes. He lifted his gaze toward the adjacent courtyard, his expression shifting oddly as he frowned. His mood was quite subtle. Is this kid not tired after such a long time? Wasn't he injured? Seems it wasn't serious after all. A youth truly is wonderful. He let out a wistful sigh, his eyes filled with envy. Even in his younger days he had never been like this. The Grand Elder shook his head and closed his eyes again to resume cultivation. He would only intervene if Chen were in danger. He was also curious about what Lu Ruyan had mentioned earlier. Would there be any surprises? He rather looked forward to it. Early morning, just as the sky began to lighten, Chen leaned wearily against the bed holding a talisman and a pill in his hand, his mood greatly uplifted. Ding. Congratulations, host, for receiving 2 years of cultivation rewards. Ding. Congratulations, host, for obtaining a recovery pill. When consumed it heals all physical injuries. Ding. Congratulations, host, for obtaining 1 thunderclap talisman. When infused with spiritual energy, its power rivals a full-force strike from a nascent soul cultivator. What he received this time was still a thunderclap talisman, only comparable to a nascent soul's might. Chen was not overly disappointed. At least it was an offensive talisman 2 major realms above his own, which could serve as a life-saving tool in dangerous situations. The only pity was that he still hadn't obtained an immortal slaying talisman. Now Chen realized how fortunate he had been before, when dual cultivating with Lu Mengyao had yielded an immortal slaying. Whether such luck would come again remained unknown. Chen had toiled through the entire night, having taken an everlasting vitality pill along the way. Now utterly drained and exhausted, he could no longer continue. Though he yearned for an immortal slaying talisman, he had no strength left to push further. Besides, Su Nianwan beside him was also worn out, sleeping soundly. Earlier Su Nianwan had even shed tears. Chen couldn't keep tormenting her, could he? A man must cherish his own woman. He also realized that the immortal slaying talisman would not come easily. It was not a goal achievable overnight. Perhaps only through prolonged effort could such a reward be reaped. If I dual cultivate with Lu Ruyan, I wonder if I'd get an immortal slaying talisman. Given her drop rate, it might just be possible. The only question is whether Lu Ruyan would be willing. Her figure is rather generous. Chen muttered softly as fatigue washed over him. Slowly closing his eyes, he drifted off to sleep. Several hours later, Su Nianwan was the first to awaken, feeling a rush of heat throughout her body. Glancing at Chen sleeping beside her, she recalled the wildness of the previous night, and her heart filled with shyness. This scoundrel! Su Nianwan murmured coyly, then tiptoed away from the bed, careful not to disturb the sleeping Chen. She draped a robe over herself to conceal her alluring figure and quickly walked out of the room. The small courtyard still had many empty rooms. Entering a quiet chamber, she sat cross-legged and began to break through her cultivation bottleneck. After the exertions of last night, her cultivation had surged explosively, as if her body might burst. With a faint cracking sound, Su Nianwan's aura suddenly skyrocketed, and torrential spiritual energy violently flooded into her body. The pressure she emanated instantly shattered the surrounding tables and chairs. As her aura gradually steadied, Su Nianwan slowly opened her eyes. Mid-golden core stage. I've broken through. Su Nianwan exclaimed with delight, her voice trembling slightly. Unbelievable. In just 2 days her cultivation had advanced from the peak of foundation establishment to mid-golden core, leaping 1 realm each day. She had never dared to imagine such a thing before, yet now it had happened to her. Su Nianwan could hardly contain her excitement, her face beaming with joyful smiles. She rose and ran out of the room, returning to her own chamber, eager to share the good news with Chen. It was thanks to Chen's efforts that she had achieved this, and she felt deeply grateful for his contribution. Sensing the commotion, Chen awoke from his sleep and opened his eyes to see Su Nianwan rushing toward him, throwing herself into his embrace. Senior brother, I've broken through again. Mid-golden core stage. I never imagined I would reach mid-golden core in just 1 day. Su Nianwan said with joy in her eyes. By now Chen was fully awake, and seeing her exuberance he understood what had happened. It must have been last night's extraordinary performance that allowed Su Nianwan to gain so much cultivation power and thus break through her realm. Congratulations, Chen said with a smile. This was indeed something worth celebrating. At this rate, Su Nianwan would soon enter the nascent soul stage, or even the divine transformation stage. This would greatly aid Chen in his future revenge, giving him several powerful allies. All thanks to you, senior brother. Su Nianwan looked at Chen with sincere admiration. She now understood that dual cultivation with him could enhance her cultivation. Her successive breakthroughs in 2 days were solely because of. Hearing her words, Chen raised an eyebrow and said teasingly, if you say that, how will you thank me? His gaze drifted toward the hint of her neckline. Meeting Chen's fiery stare, Su Nianwan's face flushed crimson. She shyly lowered her head, not daring to meet his eyes. Senior brother, please don't. I really can't anymore. Can we wait until tonight? Su Nianwan quickly begged for mercy. The wildness of last night was still vivid in her mind, as she truly could not take any more. Chen smiled and reached out to ruffle Su Nianwan's hair, then pulled her into the bed, their bodies close, feeling each other's warmth. You've worked hard last night. Get some more sleep. Don't worry, I won't touch you, Chen said softly. He was no beast, he would never force anyone. Su Nianwan curled up in Chen's embrace, humming softly with a blush. Outside in the courtyard, the Grand Elder sensed Su Nianwan's breakthrough, and a look of shock spread across his face. This? Impossible. Broken through again. Mid-Golden Core. He couldn't believe it. After all, Su Nianwan had just broken into the Golden Core stage yesterday, and now she had advanced another minor realm in the blink of an eye. The higher the realm, the greater the difficulty of breakthrough. Many cultivators remain stuck at the Golden Core stage for decades without making progress. Even prodigies would need at least several months of cultivation. Yet Su Nianwan had done it in just one day. The Grand Elder snapped back to reality, his emotions surging, and he couldn't help laughing wildly. Excellent, excellent. Heaven blesses the Hahuan sect. This Chen is truly a gift from the heavens to the Hahuan sect. He knew that Su Nianwan's rapid progress was not due to her own efforts, but to dual cultivation with Chen. All of this was Chen's doing. If any other female disciple dual cultivated with Chen, they too would gain such advancement. The Grand Elder understood this, which is why he was so excited. If it were only Su Nianwan as a lone prodigy, the impact on the sect would be limited. Only before she fully matured, she could hardly help the sect. But Chen was different. His dual cultivation talent could elevate the overall strength of the sect. Any female disciple who cultivated with him would rapidly advance. Since the Hahuan sect was mostly composed of female disciples, if Chen worked diligently, it wouldn't take long for the younger generation's power to reach a new level. The difference between a single feast and continuous meals was enormous. For this kid, even if we offend the Xiantian sacred land, so what? We must keep him in the Hahuan sect. The Grand Elder murmured with determination, his mind made up. Shortly after, the sect leader Lu Rian also received the news. What? Su Nianwan broke through to mid-Golden Core. Lu Rian exclaimed in disbelief as she read the secret letter in her hand. Her face was full of incredulity. Like the Grand Elder, she was shocked by Su Nianwan's another breakthrough. Although she had known beforehand that dual cultivation with Chen could boost cultivation, she had never imagined that Su Nianwan, having already entered the Golden Core stage, could advance so quickly. After all, the Golden Core stage was entirely different from Foundation establishment. Each minor breakthrough required 10 or 100 times the effort. This kid went at it all night. He's wounded, yet still so vigorous. Must have a good body. No wonder Su Nianwan broke. Lu Rian murmured, a faint blush spreading across her exquisite cheeks. The secret letter recorded exactly how many times Chen had performed last night. This made her realize that the more times one dual cultivated with Chen, the more cultivation one gained. While marveling at Chen's stamina, the thought of trying dual cultivation with him involuntarily surfaced in her mind again. Whenever Lu Rian learned of a disciple's breakthrough, she couldn't help but want to try this method of dual cultivation. Her own cultivation was stuck at the peak of the divine transformation stage, unable to break through the bottleneck. The responsibilities of being sect leader and the pressure from external forces made Lu Rian desperately yearn to break through to the void refinement stage. Yet after long and arduous efforts, she still couldn't cross that threshold. Breaking through had almost become her inner demon. If this continued, Lu Rian might really go mad. Now an opportunity presented itself before her. Who wouldn't be tempted? Even if it meant giving up her body, it was worth a try.